Welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our very short break. Now, I would like to move on and introduce our first main speaker for today. He is the current co-founder and executive chairman of the Philippine Vending Group of Companies. He is also the co-founder, director, and president of Sleep Well Land Development and Sleep Well More Fun Corporation. Furthermore, he is the co-founder and director of Supply Chain Solutions Management Corporation and Hobbs Concepts Corporation.
Let us now welcome on our screens Mr. Pratik Pasenko.
Hello. Hello, hi. So I'll start. So good afternoon to all. So I made a presentation to everyone. I would like to thank the IMES for inviting me to present for today's forum. I prepared kind of above normal because it's my alma mater. So of course, I won't be honest to say that I'm kind of nervous, especially when Professor Mutok, I'm not sure if he's still here, if he's watching, or my colleagues, my batchmates, see Professor Jennifer Gutierrez and see Professor Dennis Cruz. So it's nice seeing you in school teaching the kids, our kids. So it's been 29 years that I've graduated from LaSalle. So there's a lot of lessons and learnings I've gone through. Hopefully, I'll be able to present everything clearly. It's quite a number of slides. I know I have 45 minutes, so I'll try to say it clearly without speeding up so much. 29 years of learnings, it's hard to pack everything in 45 minutes. So there'll be some Q&A that I'll be presenting. I won't be able to see it in the chat box, so I'm not sure if it's applicable. So feel free to answer some questions if you were able to. So let me start. So the presentation flow. Let me first present my entrepreneurial journey, the overview of PVC, Philippine Vending. Let me concentrate on Philippine Vending Group, the motivation behind it, the criteria, and VUCA. I'm not sure if all of you or some of you are familiar with the VUCA. I believe a lot of people that has gone through business school or or has been working for quite some time, they know about VUCA. Let me explain just some of it, what VUCA is and what VUCA is applicable to today's crisis during the pandemic. The beginning of the lockdown, how we handled it, the current and how we're moving forward, and the lessons that I've realized through the years. Let me show you the overview of our company. Our company, Philippine Vending, started in '97. It's traditional vending services. I believe we do have vending machines in LaSalle. Thanks, LaSalle, for having us there. It took a while for us to convince the administration to come in. Unfortunately, we had to start our vending in school in Ateneo. LaSalle came about maybe a few years after. So we started our vending machines services in '97. We also started office convenience service, or providing tabletop refreshments. It's coffee, hot chocolate, through Milo and Nescafe, and also to the offices. And recently, because of the pandemic, we started supplying alcohol, hand gloves, and also masks to the offices. We also started this. It's called Micro Market, self-service convenience store. We have 85 of those already in the market. I'll tell you more about it later, especially during COVID, what role it plays. And lately, during the lockdown, we launched together with Nestle, Starbucks, WPS, or We Proudly Serve. It's basically a self-service, cashless Starbucks coffee, the same Starbucks coffee you have in the cafe. So it's Nestle having the exclusive partnership to roll down this WPS, and it's a blessing they chosen us to help them roll it out in the office places. So these are our clientele. We work in corporate offices, in factories. These are the clients we have, some of the clients. We also serve in schools, in hospitals, and we know for a fact that schools definitely is affected heavily during the pandemic. We also have trade asset management. So we provide technical service for Nestle, for URC, in convenience stores and drug stores. And also part of the Philippine Vending Group is Novatour. It's a standalone 100% subsidiary. It provides high quality premium coffee, portion coffee in the workplace through B2B. We have pop-up stores and our boutiques. I'm not sure if some of you have visited our stores, very nice design stores. So let me first quickly start on my entrepreneurial journey. I used to work full-time for my family business. We're into packaging called Papercon Alliance. I'm not sure if Mr. Benji Yap is still here. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Benji for his company providing certain some paper packaging opportunities to my family. I heard it from my brother Eric, who's managing the company together with my other brothers. So why I started the entrepreneur, I have this urge to start new ventures where my family is part of it. So when I go to venture, I bring my family together with me. So why? This is job creation. That's the way I started in 1997. At the same time, us being in a Christian country, I believe Dasal, being in a Catholic school, as a Christian, we sincerely believe in this. It's about doing whatever skills, opportunities are given to you. We're here to grow, right? Grow the pie, to be a blessing to others, for everyone to learn and to know about who our God is, right? So I quoted some Bible verses here. 1 Peter 4:10, God has given each of you a gift from his great variety of spiritual gifts. Use them well to serve one another, that in everything you do will glorify God. So what are the factors? Before I started Philippine Vending, there were several concepts that failed. Okay, but what are the factors that I would like to explore for what ventures? What are the criteria? So it's something to me that's missing, or maybe annoying, or disappointing, or irritating, or we call it manly. This has been taught as well in school. So what does irritate? What does give annoyance? That is also an opportunity, to become a solutions provider. For me, the concept or the venture is not the product or services, but the impact it can do in people's lives. So, for example, I give a very good example. I had a good. I was given an opportunity to teach one trimester in the SAL, and I remember I brought this up. I think it's an example of what concept is not the product, or the business is not about the product. It's about Kodak and Corona. For Kodak, I'm not sure if I can hear answers here, so maybe I won't have to ask Q&A. So let me just explain. For Kodak, why they existed, they're not. People thought they're into the camera business or in the print business, but in reality, they're really into the shared experiences, capturing memories. They could have been the FB or the IG or even the TikTok of today, but they ended up looking at camera, printing of film. So more of the hardware rather than what to the eyes of the consumer, what to them Kodak was that time. Same goes with Corona. I'm not sure if some of you can still experience Corona typewriting. So they were the leading Corona typewriting machine. So are they into the typewriter business, or the business machines? But now, when you think about it, they're really not really into the hardware, but they're into the word processing or the business equipping company. They could have been the Microsoft or the Adobe of today. So for Philippine Vending, to us, do we see ourselves in the business of vending machines? Or in the snack? Do we see ourselves in the snack and beverage business? No. In fact, we see ourselves as a convenience lifestyle now to help employees or co-workers to be more productive, to be more efficient. And today with COVID, I'll tell you later how vending plays a role in the world. So we see ourselves as a solutions provider for convenience. So that's why, to provide refreshments, we see vending machines as a solutions mechanism. It is not the machine itself. It's providing refreshment. For now, it's through vending machine. A few years ago, we opened Grab, Scan, Go. We have 85 of this. It's a self-service kiosk in 85 offices, providing products, refreshments, snacks, beverages. Also for Nespresso, do we see ourselves as providing high-quality portion coffee, good quality coffee? Or is it more of, do we see ourselves as providing innovative machines, cool-looking, innovative machines that can produce a highest quality barista coffee quality type at your home? Or do we see ourselves as a gift bundle, especially now with Mother's Day? Or do we see ourselves more of a boutique store a retail store or brick and mortar. It's much, much more, We see ourselves that Nespresso, it's about able to manage a premium quality brand that plays a role in making one's start of day just better, a tool to inspire, to socialize, and make friends. It's being part of a mindset that this could be a start of a wonderful day. I meet people who are Nespresso coffee lovers, strangers, and when we end up sharing each other's life after discovering we're Nespresso coffee lovers, that's the power of the brand. When people say, "Hey, you also drink Nespresso," I still do. I also do. So we open up our life. We end up knowing each other's kids, what we do. It's an icebreaker. At the same time, for Nespresso, it's being part of a brand that truly cares for its eternal stakeholders. It supports a best practice that can take care of the environment, how the coffee is being grown, how the farms are being taken care of. Nespresso pays more than 25% more than above industry standard of coffee. It's also how it's being harvested and how it's being recycled. As you can see on below, we have Mark Nelson, one of our supporters when it comes to recycling. All our coffee capsules are being collected or recycled. The aluminum are being smelted and being given to Katipunan Metals. It's being given to the spare parts for Suzuki. Even our coffee grounds are given to farms to act as alkaline, as supplement. So, and also for Nespresso, like this upcoming, Nespresso promotes it's not coffee, it's more than just coffee. In fact, the brand promise of Nespresso, it is more of cultivating coffee as an art to bring out the best in ourselves. So in this case, it supports the arts and the culinary. You have Nespresso Talents, as you can see here. We are launching it in the Philippines. And I would like to thank this opportunity, the LSU St. Benilde, Film Department Chair, Jose Javier Reyes and Jag Garcia, because they've helped us promote this competition. It's a global competition, and we have a national leg. And to have a national leg, we have to spend our own local budget. And we're able to do, and we're willing to do that in spite of the pandemic, in spite of being a young market, because we see Nespresso more than just coffee, as I mentioned. It's promoting such lifestyle of excellence, like this Nespresso Talents. The theme now, it's called "Doing is Everything." So you've seen our judges here. We have Cor Canares and actress and producer Bella Padilla. So maybe let me share you something of this video. I just would like to share how much inspired we are with this brand. So that's the Nespresso Talents, It's promoting the arts and film, So the theme "Doing is Everything." Okay. So in entrepreneurial, there's this one called Supply Chain Solutions Management. We started in 2008. We're handling 400 suppliers, 200 retail stores, and more than 500,000 cases a month are being handled by this logistics. I will show you why. Why are we in this case? Is it because we see ourselves as a trucking business? Or as a logistics? No. When we started this, it's because we believe cross-docking, which we pioneered together with Walter Mart. We see it ourselves as to help SMEs, to be able to deliver and sell their products to the big supermarket chains or to the supermarkets that's spread across nationwide. Only big suppliers can do. For cross-docking, you basically equip SMEs to be able to deliver their products in all the channels, all the supermarkets. So we started this together. So it produced efficient delivery. And of course, Walter Mart helped us start this, gave us the break to introduced this cross-dock to their company. And that's how we started. So that's my entrepreneurial journey now. Now let me start at VUCA. VUCA, I'm not sure if anyone, again, a while ago, if a lot of people know about VUCA, but maybe can I present this? It's just a 2-minute video. It's about VUCA. Let me show you this. It's a very interesting video of VUCA. So it's an interesting video. And that's 2016. So VUCA now, that time VUCA was about, sorry. Okay, so that time VUCA was based on technology. That's 2016. Now it's about VUCA, it's about the pandemic. So I got this article from VUCA and tweaked it, no? They say V is for volatility. So changes occur much often than before and require continuous analysis and evaluation. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. The world seems to be in the verge of collapse. India, Philippine cases. Imagine more than a year and still cases are rising. No other tragedy has been able to send the entire world on its knees. So for you, it stands for uncertainty. We are not able to exactly predict and prioritize factors that may influence situation. No? Before was ECQ, GCQ. Now today's MGFCQ. There's a joke, baka maging banana Q. So point is, we really do not know what will happen because we have to shift our people. Are the stores opening? What opening hours? How many people can we ask them to enter? So there's a lot of uncertainty around everything, jobs, economy, lives, and no one has confident answers regarding the end of the pandemic or how truly effective the vaccines would be to bring back life to as normal as what we hope it would be. And C is for complexity. The number of factors determining the development process increase significantly or become unknown. Can we open the store? How about the transportation public? How our staff will be comfortable to enter? The most complex thing about the pandemic and its effect is that there was little information about it when it started. So A is for ambiguity or vagueness. Information is difficult to interpret beyond reasonable doubt. Past experience is not applicable to explain. new processes and events. There is no specific guidance available for business individuals to manage its effect in its early stages. So this is what VUCA is. So now let me see what are the trials and challenges we have to face on this VUCA we're experiencing. Number one is cash flow. When the pandemic hit, we had to preserve cash. No, they say cash is king. Yes, without cash, we will have to close down. So what we did is that we have to decrease whatever cash outflow that's unnecessary. So upon lockdown, of course, we protected our people, our safety. We made sure we have a dedicated TQM, or we call it total quality management person, that checks every person if they're in safe. We also look at finance to preserve and generate much liquidity as possible. That was the directive. So like every SMEs, all the paid leaves as LVL are used up first to our people, with our people, so they can be paid while not working. At the same time, the first 2 months, we gave them stipend, even aside from the government's assistance, and at the same time, but succeeding months, we have to furlough people, or enter in shifts, not full time. So for PVC, banks were very supportive, as payment of interest and principal are extended. Interests were eventually lowered. So I would like to thank, I haven't met him, Mr. Ramon Jockson of BPI. I know he's a key speaker later. Your team, Raymond Go, Sheila Rohan, Karen Legaspi, they're very, very supportive. Thanks for such support. We also requested payment extension from our principal suppliers, our suppliers, Nespresso, Nestle. They more than agreed, they give it extension of payment, Mall also assisted. So our boutiques, our pop-up store, they lowered their rents in spite of them having such challenges, And of course, we had to close down one of our 2 newly refurbished offices in Rockwell, Sheridan, we just opened, it's less than a year, but we have 2 offices. We said we don't need 2 offices anymore since most of the people will be work from home for Novatur. So we had to close down to save on rent. For fill vending, just to give you some numbers, out of the 22 service centers, we're cut down to 12 service centers. These are the fixing of tabletop. From 8 sales office nationwide down to 5. We also cut down our 200 motorcycles, 144 service trucks to at least 1/3. From full-time people, 700. Now we have 500 employees in Philippine vending, and majority are in shifts, meaning not all works every day. So they only have 3 times, 4 times. This Philippine vending concentrates on out of home. Out of home basically is almost non-existent, because a lot of people are working in home. Even we used to dispense 8.5 million vending a month. Now it's 1/3 of normal transaction. That's the effect of our cash outflow. So we had to increase our inflow. So what we look at, what are the channels that we have right now that's doing, by grace, doing okay. So we realized that in-home is picking up. So what we had to do, that's Nespresso, People now are having specialty coffee at home. So what we had to do, we had to rechannel our resources. That time, we had an e-commerce called Nespresso.ph. It's an e-commerce portal. That time, we only had 2 full-time persons. One managing the e-commerce, the other one processing the orders. So when it was locked down, we view our workforce. We know that e-commerce will take off. So we view our existing workforce as foremost as human capital rather than their existing functions. So as we expect e-commerce to grow rapidly. Before the lockdown, we were having 20 to 30 orders daily. Now it shot up more than 300 orders. During the peak last year, it's shot up to more than 500. Now it's stabilized to 300 because we have stores that's still open right now. So pre-pandemic, it was contributing 10 to 12% of our sales. Now it's 1/4 of our sales. So that's how an impact e-commerce is. For PVC, we had for Philippine vending, we're now in the process of hiring and overhauling our finance department. And we are hiring a operations head to help because we feel that we need an enhanced experienced team to help us manage the thousands of vending machines. It's a reset. We view the pandemic as a reset for Philippine vending. So it's good to start to look at what we are doing well, we maintain. What we seem to be doing well, hindi pala. Because why? Because the growth that we've been growing exponentially before all the growth tends to cover whatever inefficiencies is happening. So when the pandemic hit, the growth isn't that much anymore, and now we see the inefficiencies, the problem spots, no, that's been there ever since, and now we said, okay, it's time to solve it. At the same time, we had to also increase our e-commerce security. When we started, fraudulence happened, 7-digit figures. So there were fraudulent transactions. Even our payment gateway, they themselves were caught off guard. When say payment gateway, they approved the credit card facility already, the transaction, yet it was our person inside, our finance, that caught that this might not be a valid transaction, in spite of being given the go-ahead by the payment gateway. Because why? Because once e-commerce, it's open to the world. So now we receive credit card being bought in African countries, being used to use transaction for Nespresso. And it was approved. So we had to enhance our security, both our team and even the payment gateway. We also is shifting our e-commerce platform from WordPress we're using to Magento. It's a global, more powerful e-commerce, no? That's more flexible, that's more secure. That's what we did, no? At the same time, we had to increase our visibility. What we did is, these are the people that direct reports, no? We used to have 15 direct reports. They're into, but what happened right now? From 15, it's down to 6. Because why? One's handling operations, one's handling commercial and marketing, one's handle HR and finance. Why? Clarity is more important, visibility. So it's more key, right? So at least you empower. So it's more empowering them more, no? To have more call, no? To call the day-to-day shots, no? Because I cannot, every day, it's changing rapidly from time to time. So now I streamline the direct reports for them to and empower them more. At the same time, we hired a dedicated training head, L&D, learning and development, no, during the crisis, because we know that we have to upgrade or level up our team, no, for such crisis, no. We also increase communication mobility. These are CRC, or Customer Care Center. We use VOI, voice over internet. So even during the lockdown, in their office, in their homes, you call the hotline, Nespresso Club, and they will be answered through their laptop, through their home. So we also upgrade. Even our logistics. Our logistics, it's a third party. We outsource our logistics to another group. They were good, but more in the traditional sense. They deliver bulk to supermarkets, to stores. We asked them to be our 3PL, no, for Nespresso. No problem delivering to our stores. But when the pandemic struck, our e-commerce shut up. They weren't able to cope up. They still stuck to the same system that they had. So what we had to do in the late last year, we decided to shift to third-party logistics called Li and Feng, or LF Logistics. No, they're a global giant. No, and just to let you know, the global CEO, no, he's Filipino. His name is Joseph Fee. He also graduated IE from UP. So and now he's helping us through his team here in the Philippines. This is our actual warehouse we are doing with our team right now. So we shifted from a different 3PL to the present 3PL because they're also used to handling Nespresso in Thailand as well. You saw the riders on top. These two riders, they work for our boutique. But during the lockdown, our stores were temporarily closed. But our e-commerce shut up. So what we did, a while ago I mentioned, we rechanneled our resources. So we told our boutique team, since you don't have a job, you have a motorcycle, you want to deliver, because that time, during the first few months, I'm not sure if you can recall, there was no Grab, and Lalamove was not even allowed. They weren't even allowed to operate that time. So we had to use our existing resources. No? We also use our third party, our sister company, the technical service provider for Nestle. We had many people without jobs because the restaurants, the fast food are closed, so they can't do any technical service, but they do have motorcycles. So we asked them to help us do the delivery for that. So we see our present assets that time as assets, no, not on their before it happened. So they became more of an asset that we see, that we utilized. We also we expanded to increase cash flow. We expanded also our boutique. We opened our second boutique late last year because we know that in-home coffee will grow. So we opened in Podium, first doing safety practicing. Okay, moving forward, how do we see the future now? Now, current pandemic. We shall do, of course, safety and sanitation, hygiene would be the forefront. No, you see here that we will always maintain health checkup, practice hygiene. No? We see vending to grow as offices starts opening up. This is an actual picture in the Philippines. So vending now plays a role. Because now most people, when you enter in the office, most likely you tend not to want to leave the office and stay in the location. So we see vending as a tool, no, to provide a solution, to provide refreshment, even though people are scared of going out or are encouraged to stay in their office. We also see Grab Scan Go as to grow as well, because it's a self-service kiosk, convenience store in the pantry, in the offices. And we also see Starbucks, WPS, to also grow, because now you can have your Starbucks coffee at your premise. We also see work from home to grow as well. So in-home will be a major channel for Nespresso, because now people are working more from home, and hopefully we can encourage them to consider having Nespresso as their coffee of choice, no, at home. We also see in-home Nespresso.ph to grow more further. We've seen it this year. It's been growing more than last year. So we will also be more aggressive in the marketplaces. Lazada, you've seen, we just recently joined Lazada Live. They demonstrated a live on our machines and our coffee. We also will be more active in the marketplaces like Abençons, our retailer. They have also their online, even other digital marketplaces. And in our existing brick and mortar will be here to stay. I think as Filipinos, we want to leave. We want to go out and be at the store, be at the mall, no? Of course, not as much anymore, but we view brick and mortar to be a mainstay, not as much as before, but will still remain. No? So that's why we will increase our curbside pickup. We're going to be opening our third boutique in Magnolia, Robinson's Magnolia, late this year. And we just recently, this first quarter, we opened 2 pop-up in MOA and in Aura for Nespresso. Cashless will be the next trend. Do we see? All our Grab Scan Go uses GCash. Even Starbucks, the kiosk, let me show you just for a brief moment. This is Veritas Pay, we use them here. So you use your GCash and Visa to purchase your Starbucks WPS on the machine. You can see here. So once you click on it, it activates, then you get a cup and you dispense. And of course, Nespresso will also have a vending on the eventually contactless for the home, for the office, for high quality premium coffee. We also see the trend this year is to have a buy-in to our staff to go vaccine, because now a lot of our staff might not be open, especially the frontliners, no, to vaccine. So we are now having, these are the actual campaigns we have in our HR. We've been telling our HR to convince all our people to get vaccinated once available, because it will help everyone on the economy. So what's my learning? I think I have 10 more minutes, I think. So what's my learning? Entrepreneurship and building growth. It forces individuals to think out of the box. The inefficiencies I mentioned before, there was a time that our route operations, when we were operating vending machines, we have one person to operate snack, one person to operate the soft drink, one operation person to deliver the coffee. You have 3 persons delivering to 3 different machines in the same spot. That time, we felt that that's too inefficient. Because of the pandemic, we have no choice. So we had to look at that and realize it can be done. So now we have 1 person operating 3 machines in the same spot. We become more efficient. Number 2, we had the SAP, our finance has been there ever since. No, it hasn't really been utilized. Now we realize that SAP is very important because now we need more visibility. So at the same time, we realize that learnings, no, for building for growth, the system or the technique that made us work for 1,000 machines is not the same system that can make 6,000 machines work efficiently. That's what we realize, and we had to learn it through the hard way. You know, we see a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of expenses, but now we're solving it. And at the same time, I wrote here trial by fire. What's trial by fire? The best and worst of individuals are seen. During the e-commerce incident, when we had several fraud, we see a lot of people, you know, maybe there's no more, a lot of people have no money, so they try to steal in e-commerce. You know, we have a lot of fraud transactions. So we see the worst. And also, while the best, we see a lot of people that stuck to it, that able to level up the operation side. And we see consumer habits changing. Our brick and mortar store for Nespresso are now doing better, are doing much better in nearby communities. So the malls that is open to the public, more into public, are doing not as good as before, but the malls that is nearby communities are doing better because now it's more, it's nearer, it's more accessible to the people living around it. I also learned about transparency. Now, a company has two standards, no, get muddled. So in our case, as an SME company, it's good to have just one book to be transparent. It also provides better controls. If one allows two books, you know, the culture will slowly corrupt. We used to have a practice where we do profit sharing in our company. And the profit sharing is based on the January to December sales, profitability, you know. But it was before audited period. So what happens? We found out, since the previous finance people are gone, we found out that the profitability that they declared before audit is higher than what it was, because we realized that they tend to downplay the expenses for the profit to be bigger. So during profit sharing time, it's more. So we realized that, wait, let's step back. Now, let's hire one of the top big auditing firms, and whatever profit, if ever in the future there will be, it has to be audited first. It has to be after auditing period. So this will become more transparent, more controlled. We also want to thank, you know, we also hired a finance manager as well, who and her team, we have commissioned SGV on Novatur, and it gives us, in spite of giving her a more challenge, not to live up to the requirements, we had to do that because now transparency is more important, no, given the pandemic. So in our visionary company, our vision is to inspire excellence for nation building. Such a very big motto for such a small company, small, medium company, no? Why? Because in the Philippines, no, I think like any other countries, no, corruption is everywhere, no? And we felt that, you know, we view our company to be a small, you know, our own small way of helping our country. Job creation, you know, building the industries of tomorrow is what today's theme is, no? But corruption is prevalent. No, it's basically the root cause why poverty, you know, and suffering, you know, in spite of the huge resources and talents we have in the Philippines, no? I hope, you know, I told myself, I hope in my generation I can see taking public transportation as the choice, no, as a choice, no, and that working abroad is also a choice to experience working abroad, learning best practices, what the world can provide, and not because one has to leave their family behind and work just to be able to feed and give a decent living to their kids in the Philippines. No, I hope to see that one day. And of course, as a Christian, you know, I would strive. Of course, we try to strive to pursue the goodness, no, in spite of trying times, no. So as you know, so okay. What I also learned is also that in spite of pandemic, there should be continuous learning, or Kaizen, right? Continuous learning. So what we did, we hired a dedicated LNT, learning development trainer for people. We have two dedicated HR. One is she's our consultant, HR consultant. She had years of experience in Nestle, and now she's helping us. And we asked her to join us even during the early stage of lockdown last year. that was one of the first priority we had when there was the lockdown. We said, let's hire a good HR because we don't really have a good HR yet, and we need her to help us, guide us, no, given this pandemic. And of course, partners. We will not be here today where we are without partners, no. It took this when we were still young, no. Nestle helped us. We learned from them a lot. Even the supply chain business, thanks to Mr. Lim and of Walter Martin and his family. We also thank our family members who for Hobbs. I'm not sure if some of you grew up because of Hobbs. And of course, we have this it's a joint venture, Lovely Hostel. It's a Thailand. It's in Poblacion. It's from the Thai group and people from Nespresso. These are the lead. These are the heads in Nespresso. And of course, recently we had this restaurant venture. My partner, he owns several key restaurants. So we learn a lot from him. No, so these are partners help, especially in planning, because they do have a lot of wisdom, no, involved. And of course, we expect a strong and excellent, capable team. That's what we did. These are actual people, no, that works with us, no, hindi yung copy and paste computer. So we realized that we cannot do everything ourselves. That's why we have to enhance and train our people. There's a saying, you're only going to be as good as the people you surround yourself with. And that's especially true during pandemic. So wanting to do right and proper needs a good plan and implementation. It should not only be lip service. So your ideas would only be as good as how it is implemented. So especially when we say we have to be transparent, no corruption. To do that, we have to plan it out. To do the right thing, no? To do, especially you want to do everything right. You need to have a battle plan because it's harder to do right, surprisingly, than to do shortcuts. That's why to do it, you have to have planning, ideation, execution, then trial and error if that doesn't work. That time, so just to give an idea, maybe let me share this now. To do right is hard, but that's part of our vision, right? To inspire excellence for nation building. Our finance manager had to go to the BAR for 4 or 5 days straight just to change the working permit from Makati to Mandaluyong without any payment. Meaning, you know what I mean, right? So she had to go through that. The shortcut is you pay, right? But it's hard. That's the reality. So to grow, to build the industry of tomorrow, it is not only the plan, it's also the will to do everything right and proper, especially if you're an SME. So personal life lessons. Let me share. Give me 10 minutes. I think most of you might be single, I think. In my case, I've been married and I have 2 kids. And I realized that in marriage, your partner will either make you better or make you worse. So by grace, I married a lovely wife. She made me better for who I am right now. She loved the Lord, and I thank for her for that. Also, my family. My family growing up played a major role who I am now. Our relationship is like any family dynamics. Harmony and unity needs much love. They say peace and harmony outweighs what is fair and equal. Sometimes being fair, being equal might not be the right approach. Maybe to have peace and harmony, sometimes you cannot get everything what is right every time. You have to something to give up and say, okay, if that's fair, then even though you don't think it's fair, to promote harmony, that has to be. Also, my friends, they're my accountability group. They played a role in my life. And to wrap it up, at the end of the day, after doing what can do as a professional, as an entrepreneur, as a son, as a dad, one has to let go, and leave everything to God. So there's this Bible verse. It's called Philippians 4:6-7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. So one realized what happens, it shall happen to me and my family. I'm not really in control. So what I and the team can do, we shall pursue, but the results aren't assured. So we leave everything to God. So that's my leave it out there about stewardship. I'm hearing already a sound behind. I think it's already a sound. How many minutes do I have? Sorry. Okay, good. So two more slides. So it's also realizing that it's about stewardship. In life lessons, I realized that it's about stewardship. That everything that I own, no, it's just basically lent to me. No, I'm more of a guardian, right? There's this saying by Randy Alcorn: if God was the owner, I was the manager. I needed to adopt a steward's mentality toward the assets he had entrusted and not given to me. A steward manages assets for the owner's benefit. The steward carries no sense of entitlement to the assets he manages. It is his job to find out what the owner wants done with his assets, then carry out his will. So, to sum it up, what I'm doing right now today, especially in the midst of pandemic, in everything I do, Jesus is at the center. My wife revolves around my relationship, my children, my parents, my family, my work, my ministry, and my friends. So this pandemic also taught me how to be grateful, count your blessings, no? And I wish all of you to have continued good health and get the vaccine. If, please do convince yourself to get the vaccine and stay safe. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much for that insightful talk, Mr. Pesenko. It is such an honor to be here with you today, and I'm sure a lot of us learned a lot. And as for our participants, the floor is now open for your questions. Kindly submit your questions in the Google form pinned in the comment section below.
Yes, make sure to keep those questions coming, guys. Again, you may put them in the Google form pinned in the comment section below. So our first question is from Abby. She asked, having to handle multiple companies, what is the key to be able to ensure that these companies stay top of their game in their respective industries?
Okay, my day-to-day job revolves around Novator and Philippine vending. The other companies, I do have partners. At the end of the day, as we mentioned earlier, you need to have a good team, no, that would really help you execute. And the team should be capable. That's what I realized. The team that you have that brought you from this to this level might have to might have to improve, or you might have to have other people to help you maintain that level of competence when your growth exponentially grows. So it's the people surrounding you. It is not you alone. No.
All right. So for our next question, a participant asks, despite the pandemic, how does Philippine Vending Group ensure that it continues to innovate and have sustainability in its activities or operations?
Okay, I mentioned earlier there's three businesses that we feel that the pandemic in a way enhances. One's the vending machine, because now once you have vending machines in your office, when the time comes, you won't be leaving your office, right? You would stay put in the workplace, right? So most likely the vending would be there here to stay. So what we do, we also, of course, make sure that we practice sanitation, hygiene, our people, our route person, when they enter, they're always checked. No, there's always a requirement by the customer. The grab, scan, go, the self-service stores, it's more flexible. You have more offerings. So that will also be a mainstay in the office workplaces. And of course, our Starbucks and our Nespresso B2B, no, our premium coffee line, they would be more relevant. Now, instead of going to the cafe, if you're in the building, now you can have such quality coffee at your workplace in the pantry on the same floor.
All right, so for our third question, it's from Jill. She asks, what are the biggest challenges you've encountered in running the business or managing your employees?
It's telling them that if they don't know, sabihin ninyo, or tell to us. Don't just say yes and say, yes, I hear you, but I don't understand you. It's more, it's okay. Have a welcome environment that it's okay to make mistakes. And also, everyone can charge to experience. If that should be an environment. They have to feel secure. If you make a mistake, yes, there might be some talk here and there, but it's okay to make a mistake. But to add that, even though you might think they'll make a mistake, it's good to make sure that the person assigned in each role, if they make a mistake, it doesn't cripple the company as well. So it's also to be aware of the people that you put in that position. So if they make a mistake, it doesn't basically ruin the company. Right?
Yes, and actually something that I learned as well is that you will continue to grow with every mistake that you make, and also the people around you if they are very supportive. So thank you very much. And for our next question, we have Helena, and she asks, how do you execute or implement Nespresso's vision statement in everyday life?
Okay, so the brand purpose is to cultivate art, to cultivate coffee as an art, to bring out the best in ourselves, right? So for me personally, how I start my day was having an espresso coffee, right? And for me, when I start my day with the people, what we do, we try to practice whatever we preach, best practices. I think first, transparency. If you notice, most of our campaigns, when you look at it, it's about excellence. No, when it comes to excellence of sustainability, recycling. Number two, when it comes to the Nespresso talents, it's promoting, supporting the arts and film. Number three, it's also how we were providing before the pandemic. We were supporting the culinary, the scene. We were supporting a lot. Chef Jordi, who won the best restaurant in the Philippines for Asia's 50 Best. We've been partnering with him before before the time it became Asia's 50 Best. So it's how we, and of course, as a company, we try to do everything proper. Easier said than done, as I told you. Our experience with wanting to pay the right taxes, we want to do that, and we have to do that. But I realize in this Philippine context, to do everything better, to do everything right, you might be paying a little more. Surprisingly, some people say, "I won't pay the right taxes. Why should I pay the right taxes? I mean, my tax doesn't really go to the public." But the point is, it doesn't give you the right to not pay taxes for that reason, right? So we do that. We try to do whatever we can as a small, medium enterprise.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick Pesenko. So our next question is, what are the notable skills and qualities you look for in recruiting or hiring people?
Experience in handling trials and crises. Sad to say, we have people who are very dedicated, and during the crisis, some had to leave because they can't handle the pressure now, which is understandable. I was even open to my team that I had burnout sessions. I had to open up to them. I can't keep it to myself. No, I said that. So I told them that maybe I might not have Zoom first. For the meantime, too much Zoom is not also healthy. So to hire people, that to answer you, how they handle crises in their past jobs, no, or in work, basically. Because and of course, yeah. So that's it. Because skills can be learned. That's what I believe. Skills can be learned, but it's how the crisis, how they affect. People management, people interaction. Basically, how they handle different departments. How are they exposed? How many times are they working in their own silo, or they tend to meet different people from different departments, and how are they able to interact? That also plays a role.
Yes, and I believe that that's very important, especially this time of pandemic. As our previous speaker mentioned earlier, we are all at the same storm, but not in the same boat. So, for our last question, this is, what is the best piece of advice that you have received? Or do you have any general advice for IE students?
Is Mr. Ben Tehamki still teaching in LaSalle? No,
I'm not
Mr. Ben
sure.
Tehamki. He's my professor, no, and I think freshman. And until now, I still say his quote once in a while to people I meet. When I was younger in freshman, he told me this, and that might be my advice as well, no, with some added quotes on that. He said, "Kids, now what you have." I was freshman at the time. He said, "Do you know that now?" He advised us to maintain as much as possible that that thing that when we tend to grow older, we tend to lose that as we grow older. So we said, "What is that?" He said, "Maintain idealism. Be idealistic. Because once you grow older, you tend to be more pragmatic, which is okay, but maintain idealistic. Be pragmatic, yet being idealistic." Because sometimes when people say being pragmatic, they'll say, "People do it naman eh. Okay lang. Everyone does it, right?" So it's being idealistic. But let me add this. being LaSalle, being a Christian, a Catholic university, I've quoted some verses. No, it's also you be idealistic because make Jesus your center. Whatever happens, no, because we will always experience trials. Now, this pandemic, next time it might be different. So that's something that I would like to share to this session. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pasenko, for your knowledge and time. We highly appreciate it. And thank you also for everyone for your questions as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks
Yes.
so much. Yeah, so stay strong, everyone. Thanks for
Yes, and yeah, Mr. Pasenko, we would like to present a certificate of appreciation for you, which will be flashed here on our screen.
Given this day, 7th of May, in the year of the Lord 2021 at De La Salle University, Taft Avenue, Manila, this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Mr. Patrick Pasenko for sharing knowledge as a distinguished speaker in the success of aaaIECON 2021, Building the Industries of Tomorrow. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Patrick Pasenko.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Samantha, Camille. Thank you.
Thank you. We will be having a short 5-minute break, but do not leave yet because we will be asking our second raffle question. But before we give out the question, I would just like to remind everyone once again to please fill up the general attendance log sheet flashed on the screen. You may also fill up the sponsor promotion form to avail some special goodies from our aaaIECON 2021 sponsors.
Now get ready to type your answers in the comment section for our next raffle question of the day. So the question is, what is the series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end? Again, the question is, what is the series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end?
Comment your answers down below with the hashtag #IECON2021xGrizzlyDough and hashtag #SkipTheOven. Again, that is hashtag IECON2021xGrizzlyDough and hashtag #SkipTheOven.
And while you guys are actually answering the question, I have a pretty fun fact for everyone. Did you know that the co-founder of Grizzly Dough are actually LaSallian students? That is something that I noticed with LaSallians. We are very hardworking and we are definitely everywhere. Like you will just be surprised that the owner of this particular establishment is a LaSallian, and that is something that we should be proud of. And actually, Sam, I have a couple questions for you, given that I know you have also had your fair share of experiences with business or with friends who have businesses. What are some of the things that you admire, especially during the time of the pandemic, that LaSallian students have done to make sure that their businesses are improving even during this hard time?
Now that you mentioned it, actually, it reminds me of what Mr. Pasenko mentioned earlier, that despite this pandemic, there are a lot of things that we can improve on. We still are continuously learning. And for example, the PVC, it's so nice to see how they still have a lot of future plans, especially now, despite us being in the middle of the pandemic. And that's what I really appreciate about the businesses out there. For example, the PVC. How about you, Cam?
I mean, exactly. That's something that I was curious about. Like vending machines, how will that work during the time of the pandemic? Like in school, that's something that we would usually just go to get our drinks. But how would we do that if we're stuck at home or if we're trying to social distance? And the way that Mr. Patrick Pasenko and his team adjusted to the pandemic, I believe is very commendable. And it's just very inspiring, especially for everyone out there. And how about you, Sam? What are some of the other things that you've learned?
Well, personally, is that it's really difficult in this time of ours, but again, it's really important that we strive to keep doing better and really learn from all of this, from everything that's happening around us.
Yeah, exactly. And before we continue with our conversations, we just want to repeat what the question is for our raffle. It is, what is the series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end? And now we will be presenting the correct answer. The correct answer is process.
Well, I'm really enjoying the crowd's active participation, Camille. And please be reminded that raffle winners will be announced at the end of the event. Let us also not forget to thank our sponsors for making this event possible. And we'll see you after the break at 2:15 p.m. Philippine Standard Time.
Here we go, here we go. It's about time that we set it off. Bang, bang, won't stop till we're legends.
Landing on your dream job will have a huge impact on your success. Good news is that we compiled everything you need to know in one ebook. Introducing Build Your Engineering Career version 2, your complete guide in landing your dream job in the engineering industry. Creating an outstanding resume, facing that interview, salary negotiation, and more. Check out this link to download yours now.
Welcome back, everyone. Can I just say that we really do have such an amazing lineup of speakers for today?
I totally agree, Camille. I appreciate all the insights and knowledge imparted by our first two speakers. I can't wait to hear our next speakers talk.
And of course, to introduce our second main speaker for day one of aieCon 2021, he is the current chairman and CEO of PASIA and PASIA Shared Services. He was also the former senior vice president of LBC Express and the ASEAN regional director of Ariba. Let us now give a warm virtual applause for Mr. Charlie Villaseñor.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good to be here. Let me just start off by telling you how appreciative I am to be able to actually give you a short talk on a topic that is very important nowadays. I titled it "Maintaining a Resilient and Adaptive Supply Chain Amidst the Pandemic." I hope everybody is safe and well positioned to actually take this 30 minutes presentation. So let's actually go over it right now. Next, please. Basically, just a short overview of what I actually do. You know, I run four companies right now, and some of them basically are into shared services. It's all about procurement. It's all about global procurement and supply chain. And I also run the largest institute for supply chain professionals based out of Asia but operating globally. What we actually do as an organization, we do consulting, training, and services, and implement a lot of software technologies related to business. So just in one shot, this is what we do from supply chain, procurement, and logistics. We do a lot of things from services to technology implementation, but more importantly, in capacity building for companies to become good at this particular area. Next, please. So let me actually just say that I'm going to cover at least three major items that is very relevant for you as IE students and those that are entering into this particular field. Next, please. If you take a look of what's going on right now, there's a lot of changes, even before the global COVID, a lot of natural hazards. In fact, even before COVID, we actually had the Tagaytay, the volcanic eruption. We are seeing a lot of geopolitical tensions, and we are actually seeing a lot of economic slowdown. All of these are compendium of challenges that businesses are actually seeing happen right now. Next, please. But the focus of our attention nowadays is basically, on the area of COVID-19 pandemic, because it actually touches on health risks on thousands and millions of people already. So we are facing a lot of capacity constraints, or actually seeing a lot of high demand and shortages of medical, food, and essential supplies. And we're actually seeing a lot of majority of economic activities are being hampered due to affected labor demand and supply. It's unfortunate that we're moving from a position of recession going farther to the south, which is actually depression. So more business challenges during the pandemic. So businesses are very concerned. One thing that they're really concerned, and the primary concern of many companies right now, is really more on cash reserves or liquidity. A lot of companies are seeing that they're actually closing out or closing down without them knowing it. So that's really very challenging. They've seen that they're all moving to a contactless society, more electronic and IT, systems are being put in place. Not because that they like it, but they see a lot of need for it. So there's also challenges for suppliers on selling. They cannot access their customers easily. There's problem on labor because of capacity and constraints because of lockdown. You'll see a lot of supplier performance issues because even companies right now are finding it so difficult to continue manufacture and production and even shipping their products. So there's going to be challenges, you know, um, of CEOs. Just a year, a little over a year. So I'm part of the Management Association of the Philippines, which are all CXO of the country of top companies. And we get to survey our members. And there are two important things that I wanted to highlight to you as students. And one thing here that we actually saw very clearly was that companies and CEOs will actually do implementation of cost savings or cost containment, almost 80% of them. But then a good 80% also wanted to innovate or do and implement digitalization for their respective organization. So two important things that we need to actually cover very well. If you look at supply chain, I don't know how much curriculum do you have in supply chain, but supply chain is very close to IE. This is about operations management. Supply chain is one of the top 5 highest paying profession that we're actually seeing also. The unfortunate thing about this is in the Philippines and many other countries are not very advanced in supply chain education. So let me talk a little bit about this topic from a very layman's perspective. Supply chain is about running the business. It's basically a network of organizations linked together that produce value in the form of a service or a product that gives it to the ultimate customer. Supply chain covers from planning, sourcing, production, delivery, and return. But we try to simplify it in PASIA, where we call plan, source, and move. Because you are trying to manage 3 things here. You're trying to manage physical flow, information flow, and cash flow. And in order for companies to make money or to improve the return on investment, nothing will help them except a better supply chain for their organizations. Why so? Because this is where procurement is, inbound logistics, manufacturing, outgoing deliveries, and even returnables of their items. So all of this cost them assets and money. And if improperly managed, the company can go belly up. As a procurement professional, and some of you may actually get into this particular profession, and I really think that most of the people working supply chain are really coming from IE. The most important thing that is moving through right now is really companies are moving into risk management, value creation, and cost. So it used to be that it was seen as a cost enabler, wherein companies are trying to save money. But that's not the main focus right now. A lot of companies are now focusing on managing the risk side of the business. And it's very important too that they actually look at the performance measures to be able to be good. Like, for example, performance on how they deal with suppliers. They have many ways to deal with the suppliers, but we highly suggest what we call an ACSIR approach, wherein assurance of supply, quality presentation, service delivery, cost, innovation, and regulatory sustainability are the most common and going to be the way forward to be able to set the proper criteria for working with suppliers, because suppliers is a big part of your business. There is a saying that I always give to a lot of people in my talks. I always say that The success of your business is directly important by the performance of your supply chain. I always say that companies are not going to compete on the product or the service that they produce, but it is so that companies are going to compete on their supply chains. Just think about Lazada. Just think about Uber. Just think about the many new dimensions on how products and services are being delivered. And this is all about supply chain management. That's where the money is all actually being presented and how they actually make this so competitive. Next, please. So there's going to be a lot of things that's going to impact the business that are very much hinged towards how you operate supply chain. If you are entering a company, and out of coming from school, university, a lot of these people who will interview would like to have a feel on how you actually appreciate supply chain. There's going to be more risk. It's going to be hard to recover from where we are right now. People keeps on asking me, just from the 2 sessions that I had in the last 2 days, on how long this pandemic is going to be. If you're going to take a look on how this vaccination is happening, you can actually correlate that the economies are not going to be on the same node in the next 2 to 3 years because things are not happening to the way we would like it to actually develop. You take a look on your sidelines, you're going to see there's going to be trade global pressures that's going to come into play. There's going to be digitalization race from companies to companies. Okay, so more and more there's going to be increasing need for efficiency. More and more it's going to be like companies wants to see contact-free execution of things. There's going to be more demand for things like electronic marketplaces, artificial intelligence, and robotics. Right now we're launching our own business on AI and robotics through a particular partner. And I could see that this is going to transform a lot of jobs that we're seeing in place right now. Similarly, we expect them to replace humans, to be able, who's going to do all of this work. So it's going to affect. Will it affect labor? Of course, it's going to affect. Will it take away jobs? Of course, it's going to take away jobs. But the idea here is like, how can we actually adapt, retool, and reskill to be able to make sure that we actually take advantage of the new development rather becoming a victim of it? Things are moving very fast. We're actually telling companies that in order for them to also survive, they need to have a plan. They need to have a plan in combating the challenges that they're facing right now. They have to mitigate the risk that they're actually facing, and they have to transform as an organization. I'll tell you exactly our own business case on this one. But only to wrap it up at this particular segment that, we're facing really a VUCA world, no? So we need to make sure that since the climate is very volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, organization, simple as may become, small or large as they are, they have to redefine their vision. They have to recalibrate their understanding of the business. They should actually have a clear line of sight where their focus are and how they're going to be much more flexible. And we need to make sure that they are able to mobilize and execute things in a non-normal way. They have to be agile, because things that's going to come here is are the companies who are more innovative. Okay, so let me actually dwell in many important things regarding supply chain. When you actually embark into your business, if you take a look at it, any business your parents are, or your family is, or your big corporate, companies are, they do have their strategy. From strategy, they develop the people, the process, and the tools. It's very important that to be able to fortify supply chains, there has to be a strong leadership. If you look at many years ago, during the industrialization, the most important jobs are in marketing and sales and finance. But you will find out that more and more leaders of the business right now, let's take one example, Apple. In Apple, who do you think is Tim Cook? Tim Cook was the former Chief Procurement and Supply Chain Officer of Apple. What am I saying here? I think that many people who will lead organizations and business are going to come from supply chain and operations. So importance of supply chains leaders are very high. But businesses are finding it so difficult to look for trained and talented people in supply chain. So when I actually graduated, I actually narrowed in. I took my MBA, I took my PhD, but I narrowed in. When I work with companies like 3M, Coca-Cola, and Chevron, why did I go to supply chain? Because I know it's where the money is, and it is where people doesn't want to go, because they think supply chain is about warehouse management. We will be carrying big boxes and the like, but it was the most difficult part of the operations of any particular company. What am I saying here? Supply chain is going to be one of the most in-demand areas for professionals to be able to succeed their corporations and their companies. And they need a lot of training too. It's not available in schools because they really don't concentrate on supply chain management as a curriculum. So many people and third-party providers like us are providing this gap. And we are able to see it because we have found out that 80% of many of the supply chain professionals by 2025 are going to are coming from your own batch, actually, millennial and Generation Z. But they have a different way of appreciation of training or development. We call it 70-20. 70% wants to have more practical applications. They don't want to sit down in a classroom and listen to a professor. They don't like that. A lot of them wants to make sure that they have planned work specific formal learning. They want to be coached. And a few of them wants the traditional classroom training. But these things, as you can see, is really changing very fast. Even in the way trainings, even schools have their own supply chain. You can even watch that even schools is going to actually transform given the pandemic and given digitalization. Look at where we are right now. Next, please. I'm not going to cover a lot of things that you can do in supply chain. Money saved is money to the bottom line. As I've said, if you want to secure profitability, differentiation of your company, there's no way to go but really looking at your supply chain planning, procurement, and logistics. And there are so many things to work around it to be able to make sure that it's robust and the performance is going to be at optimum for many companies. Next, please. So how do we actually fortify a new game plan? We always say this, that now that we are in the now normal, we need to suggest that companies has to have a battle plan or a game plan. They need to combat, they need to mitigate, and they need to transform. Given the set of time that is entrusted to me, I cannot explain what we actually have to do and tell them what to do. But give me a minute to actually just say that when you talk about supply chain planning, this is about demand and supply and forecasting. This is about making sure that you are able to put the numbers together. This is about sales and operations planning, trying to get a consensus plan on how the business is going to operate. This is all about numbers. The second piece that is very important is actually procurement, or what I call strategic sourcing. So when you talk about strategic sourcing, it's not getting the lowest price. It's getting the most advantageous deals for companies. That's where companies are hiring specific professionals to buy their IT, to buy their raw materials, to buy their operating supplies. They want people to be very astute and familiar with this. Why do they have to do that? Because it's where the money is. They always say that money saved is money to the bottom line. And the third aspect that is most important is logistics, Uberization. This talks about warehouse, transportation, and distribution. With the growth of e-commerce, it has changed the landscape on the entirety of how logistics are being operated. What are some of these best practices that I wanted to impart to you so that you'll get a clear view or a feel of what it feels being a supply chain professional? Supply chain professional is the one who leads the company on how to prepare their sales and operations game plan. Okay? It looks at and consolidates commercial aspects. It consolidates how it impacts operations and how the financials is going to be going to the result based on the decisions that they make. It's a deep science It needs to be learned. It needs to be trained before they can actually do and implement sales and operations planning. Another good practices for companies to really be able to succeed in the now normal is for them to move from just being buyers of the raw materials or items that they need. They need to actually move to what they call strategic sourcing. Strategic sourcing is not getting the lowest price of the items that you need as your inputs to produce another product. Strategic sourcing is a step-by-step process to get the most advantageous deal. So, maybe you would rather decide to pay a higher price because you wanted to get something that's going to be much needed and will actually achieve a higher yield or a higher performance for your product or service that you're actually producing. There's a lot of competitive levers that you can do out of strategic sourcing. You can change the volumes, or you can make use of your volumes. You can negotiate better with best pricing. You can do global sourcing. You can actually restructure the relationship with your suppliers, change the specification, and work closely with them. Now that the pandemic is on and many supplier relationships are getting into several ways of being challenged, companies need to work closely as partners in the business. It requires a lot of skills. It requires a lot of trainings. So even in the area of logistics, it needs to be integrated. They're trying to put together systems, and integrating it. They want to make sure that they're end-to-end getting a visibility on how their goods are actually moving. We have to put something like not just command center, but control towers for supply chain. This is actually managed by people who are very astute in trying to have a feel about demand and supply. Most of these are moving into cloud-based. There's a lot of technology in supply chain. There's a lot of analytics, predictive analytics type of things are being put as important frontline activities in supply chain management. Supply chain management is never boring. I think it's the most dynamic function with any organization. And the reason why they are actually moving from more tactical to digital, because it's all about efficiency, It's all about productivity, trying to make sure that all of their data are secured, and it's trying to win their customers and by being agile. One of the things that who actually told me before when I was doing work in San Miguel, I heard the CEO of San Miguel told me that the best thing to be competitive in the business is to make sure that you're better than your competition. That is the only barometer. You can always say that you have achieved this, achieved that in your company. But if you cannot say that you are better than your competition, you're still not the best in the industry. And the best way to achieve that is to make sure that you're best in your industry. Next, please. So there's going to be a lot of trends in IT digitalization in supply chain. Even when you talk about blockchain or cyber tracking or virtual reality, robotics, electronic auction, e-commerce, e-procurement, they are all within the sphere of supply chain management. And supply chain management is very much into the helm of IE, industrial engineering. But as you can see, that supply chain is starting to get separated from IE. It's having its own formal attention, being enjoyed by having really a course in supply chain and even a PhD and a master's degree in supply chain. A lot of US companies have already moved towards that direction. Next, please. Over and above best practices, automation, we always say this. The most important thing in being in supply chain is being ethical, because this is also the area that integrity is so much challenged. There are people who say that if you want to get rich, just go to procurement. That is not the type of thing that we are advocating over here. We are actually helping companies in making sure that they are compliant environmentally, socially, and the way they actually execute their own governance. To be part of supply chain, the highest skill that we look here, or the highest attribute, is for individuals to be highly ethical, transparent, and highest integrity. You cannot be part of our profession if you are not high on these particular values that we espouse. Next, please. So more and more we actually provide that particular emphasis on that particular area. I know that I probably have 15 minutes to go. Let me give you a little bit of story about Pasilla. When Pasilla saw that there was a big lockdown announcement coming from the government around March of 2020, everything moved fast in our company, because even before that, we knew this thing was already happening. And we were actually telling companies, when I was being interviewed in TVs, that something bad is really going to happen. So we made all of our training events really using Zoom or electronic means. All of our trainings were done electronically, and we prepared for this because we know that at some point in time, most of our trainings needs to be online. So it was an easy adjustment on our part. We were prepared with our own supply chain. And many of the services that we do were starting to move already on electronic means. So we got a little bit easy in adapting to where we would like to put the company going forward. We had the technology, we had the right partners on implementing and supporting companies on their own supply chain. Next, please. So as you can see, almost daily before we were adjusting, but most of the way we look at it was that we have a role to play also in our own country and in the region. We were saying that since all of this pandemic, everything that we read is about lack of PPEs, lack of doctors, lack of supplies, lack of syringes, lack of vaccines. We all appreciated and everybody agreed finally to me that the only way to help the pandemic is to ensure that companies and governments was good in supply chain, isn't it? But the harsh truth is, like, companies and government is very poor in executing and having a good understanding of what supply chain is all about. Sorry to say, but that's what happened to us. That's why until now, many people are getting sick, many people are getting infected. Business is not able to survive simply because we lack the necessary skills and know-how to run the right supply chain for our own country. Next, please. So very fast, Pasilla created what we call assured services. And this was already running for 20 years. What we do is we help companies in specific areas that they need help. It's something about BPO or outsourcing. We were able to find a niche that since there's no company who provides this particular expertise. So why don't we actually offer this expertise so that companies could take what type of service or engagement they would like from us, and we could help them. From studying the way they do procurement, for helping them look for suppliers around the world, by implementing electronic bidding or electronic procurement for them, for helping them to asset disposal. These are things that they don't want to do. These are things that they wanted somebody to do it for them. Pasilla actually created a marketplace, an electronic marketplace, so that suppliers selling and companies buying can be automated. Our idea here was to be able to help companies do supplier assessment, validate who are the best suppliers, get to do procure to pay, manage payment and logistics. So this is basically a portal that we have put in place to be able to put companies and buyers together so that they can actually transact efficiently. Next, please. So we're really moving on best practice and automation over here. Around September 16, 2019, I was a guest in ANC, and I was telling them that in order to have a competitive Philippines, the thing that we need to do best is to really improve each and every company supply chain. On March 2, I was interviewed by Business Asia, and I said, a lot of people are going to die, a lot of people are going to get sick, simply because we don't have all of the supplies, essential supplies that we need to recover or to fight the pandemic. Nobody was listening. So many people got sick. So on March 23, ANC called me again. I said, from what you said, it's already happening. I told you so. So I actually told them that there's going to be a lot of problems brought about by lockdowns. I told them that lockdowns was good, but we need to have a very solid plan in supply chain to be able to help people live, people survive, and people getting vaccinated. Nobody listened again. So what I did, I went to get Pasilla and the Management Association of the Philippines create series of webinars like this. I want to teach them about the importance of supply chain. I wanted to tell them about how hospital supply chain can be improved. That's the second one. I wanted to make sure that they understand how logistics is going to impact economy and vaccination. I wanted to talk to them about test kits. I wanted to talk to them about food supply chain, global vaccine, and we keep on providing every month, a good webinar to educate the business in the nation on what to do best. It is very challenging to do this type of work. Next, please. But we are able to be very successful. I even was selected by the UNICEF to actually go on a training program in Maldives to be trained about vaccine supply management. I never thought that this was going to be very helpful for me as I try to help the country also help on vaccine supply chain management. Next, please. So on April 15, I was about to die. At the evening of in the morning of April 5, I know that I only had 2 to 3 hours to breathe properly. I was being under home care. This is me. And there was no hospital who was getting me. There was no available beds that's going to get me. So somebody accepted me. This was the Diliman Doctors Hospital, and they put me on a tent. Good enough that I was able to be taken in and be taken care of. What did I feel about that? I was a casualty. I was a patient. Because simply that, there was not enough supply that I needed for my own well-being to survive COVID-19. As I speak to you right now, I'm beside my bed. I'm trying to survive, I'm trying to recover. And I realized that there are 4 areas that nations should put into attention. Number 1 are people who are dying. These are critical patients like us when I was in the hospital who needed a lot of things, a lot of medical supplies and people who would be able to help me. All of the people beside me died, around 8 of them. They were put on body bags, and it was very a difficult ordeal that I have to see. So I promised myself I will help the nation out of my supply chain expertise and leadership and infrastructure. So here I am trying to say that the next area that will have to deserve quick attention is our testing and tracing, including vaccination. And how do we actually make sure that we have a platform or a system to ensure that every time something happens, from disasters to even wars, we are ready to complement and sustain our needs for supplies, and the right resources that we have to manage to be able to live by. It requires a lot of sustainability efforts. It requires a lot of innovation, because all of this needs to be done in a very excellent manner, because we're dealing about helping people survive and succeed. Next, please. If you look at what we need, we really need to understand that it's beyond vaccine. We just don't need vaccine. A lot of people are talking about this vaccine. But if you look at critical patients' care, we need doctors, we need nurses, we need respirators, we need oxygens, we need a lot of medicines. We need to make sure that we understand the lead time, the availability, the supply chain concepts to make all of these things available for us. We have to make sure that we know how many body bags, how many cremation that we need to be able to cope up. You've seen what happened to India, what's happening to India. A lot of people are now saying that we are very close to being an India. Can you imagine if that happens to the Philippines? It's going to be very, very, very difficult. So there is a significant science, in supply chain management that IE students has to be able to appreciate. So we're running what we call an integrated supply chain program. I'm going to share this around May 20. We're going to roll out something that nations can do, adapt, because there is certainly a supply chain playbook that can be adopted by many nations, including our country. We need to augment them on this particular area. So this normally takes 18 months, but the benefit of putting this together happens on 6 months. Efficiency and getting it better moves around a span of 18 months. So these are the different steps to undertake to be able to make sure that we have the right people, we have the right process, and we have the right enablers to ensure that our country or nations are able to withstand any challenges when it comes to supply management or supply chain when pandemic wars actually happen. We think that we could always augment on three fronts, which is very important. Again, supply chain planning, strategic sourcing, and logistics. Put it together, we should be able to control the virus. We should be able to control the pandemic. We should be able to save lives. We should be able to maintain order, because when people are hungry, they will start killing and robbing each other. And we should be able to keep the economy going. Companies who know supply chain management are going to survive, even though they're in a service industry or any industry that they are actually in. Even countries are going to compete not only on their supply chains, but they're going to compete on how they execute their own national supply chain. When I went to the US, I saw a company called Chick-fil-A, and they're very good in supply chain. But one thing that I saw among them, what this company, they pray every time. They're a very rich company. People are being paid very well, particularly in supply chain. They're the biggest number one company in chicken fast food business. I copied one thing. When I came home, I copied exactly what they do. So every Friday, all of my employees comes together and we pray very hard. Especially now that there's pandemic, we pray harder. So I just wanted to make sure that we share to you our vision, our values, and our vision. We pray very hard, but we also learn values, because it's not only about running supply chains. You also have to do everything that the company does to the greater honor of our Creator. We think that we are still here because we have a mission. I think I was able to still survive last April 5. I'm still breathing right now in front of you. Maybe because somebody up there wants me to do something to be able to help the country and the nations around the Asia region. I always believe that the program that I'm going to introduce in the next 2 weeks to this particular country and to various nations is going to be good for them to have strong nations and companies, so that it could help better economies to develop and good for nation building. We think that nations and companies who have good supply chain management will be able to be more faster in saving lives or more efficient in saving lives. There's going to be more better way of execution and having able to maintain peace and order and to be able to sustain the economy of their countries. So as IE students, my parting message here is like, you are one step closer. You are almost there. You are there already, but you need to be trained on supply chain. Unfortunately, that's not a course that is well embedded in many educational institutions. So we fulfill that gap, and we certify professionals in IE to actually be certified in supply chain management also. So that's the main. I think I'm pretty much on time. I would be very happy to take any questions. And all the thing that I could say is like, we should never give up and help our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that insightful talk, Mr. Villasenor. It is such an honor to be here with you today. And of course, the entire Lasallian community is here and praying for your speedy recovery, for you to be able to go back to your healthy self. And of course, I know that our dear participants also have a lot of questions for you. So the floor is now open for questions. Kindly submit it through the Google form pinned in the comment section below.
So starting off with our first question, it's coming from Kim. And her question is, in terms of operating globally with respect to logistics and supply chain, how has PASIA over the years developed strategies to these?
That's a good question. We operate. Fortunately, we were founded in the Philippines. But that was actually called because of my experience with multinational corporations. But we have a lot of Fortune company clients. And, they are very discerning when they engage a Filipino company, especially if we are not within their territories. No? So they saw something very unique from us. We had a very unique and compelling value proposition that they could not get from their own territories. And it was easily not duplicated by their own respective countries. So we actually move a lot of Filipino experts to their companies globally, but we actually coupled it also with their own people that we know from within our network. So we made sure that we have the right people, and we were actually implementing best of class practices, and we are actually providing them with the right technology. But the thing that allowed us to win was because we're actually based in the Philippines. Our efficiency is high, our value and communications is just like the Western people, and our cost is so much better than other competing countries. And we were competing with countries from Europe, from US, from Middle East, but we never dropped the ball. We were very consistent on how we actually attack the market. And that's how we thought we were able to win this. It's also something to apply supply chain to our own selves, isn't it? We knew that we had competition, so we have to be better than our competitors out there.
That is very inspirational. And for our next question, Ben asks, how do you feel about the sudden wave of retrenchment of businesses in the country?
It will never stop soon. There's gonna be a lot of companies that is going to go bankrupt, and they will not even know that they're already bankrupt. Because in supply chain, we have what we call the domino effect. So if one company closes down, their suppliers closes down, and they have what we call first tier supplier, second tier supplier. So it's gonna be a domino effect. I'm not painting a very pessimistic picture here. This is just very realistic because we have seen this already. We have been working with a lot of our Filipino customers right now, and we're starting to feel that when their suppliers cannot ship something to the Philippines, they cannot produce anything to the Philippines. So what do? They lay off people, and when they lay off people, the ones who's going to buy their products could not sell anything to the market. So it's what we call a negative domino effect. So jobs are going to be significantly affected. But fortunately for us, once we're in supply chain, a lot of companies still needs a lot of help in the area of supply chain. It's going to be a K-shape. Ang sabi namin dyan, K-shape. Why K-shape? Because for companies that are going to succeed, there are a lot of companies that are going to succeed, like technology companies, payment companies, telco companies, data centers. They're going to succeed. But a significant portion of the economy and the players within an industry is going to go bankrupt or lose that business. And we know that we have seen that already, and we keep on seeing that. So jobs are going to be challenged as well. But you need to find out what's the new job that's going to emerge. So I always tell young people, go to supply chain and work into areas like artificial intelligence, RPA, logistics, e-commerce, electronic marketplace. Do not think about how much money you're going to get right now. Get the experience, get the training, and get the certification. Because 1 or 2 years will significantly make a difference whether you will have a job or going to be on the streets.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Villasenor. And our next question is coming from JC. He asks, what are the specific characteristics and qualifications in order for anybody to be a part in the field of supply chain? What is the initial income for it?
Yeah. First of all, as I mentioned a while ago, to be part of our profession, ethics is the most important thing. So take ethics as your highest offering to the profession. You're gonna be tempted here, but do not succumb to it. Okay. Second is like, be a good salesman. Akala ko ba, I'm looking for supply chain. Why is it good to be a salesman? In supply chain, you need to sell ideas. So you need to be a strong communicator. Second is like, you should be a good project manager. You have to see end to end. You have to see the big picture, but be able to work on the details. So that's the third one. And the fourth one that you need to have is like, you need to be certified supply chain, procurement, or logistics professional. Because if you are not trained and you are not certified, you're just like anybody, Would you like to entrust your children to a doctor that is untrained or uncertified? Do you want to give your legal worries to a lawyer that is untrained and not part of the bar? So you want to make sure that you entrust all of your money to trained and certified professionals, because that makes a significant difference. What's the income? Quite a good amount, over and above 2 times a BPO starter. But that's only a starting point for people who is trying to do, entry stuff into this. What is the normal salary of a vice president? Around 400,000 pesos a month. More or less. So it's like good money to have, isn't it? A manager would run from 150, to 250,000. Okay na yun, di ba? Like that's something that you can live by. So I like supply chain. And I've been mentoring a lot of college students already from different schools who is asking my help. So I mentor them and I teach them to which companies they will have to go and be accommodated for an interview also. And they certainly get good jobs with these companies. So good to help out these students and those who are really looking for a supply chain profession.
Something that a lot of college students are looking into right now. So actually, to further add on to what you said earlier, a question came from Naomi and she asks, what qualities should one look for when looking for a supplier?
It was in one of my slides. If you're looking for a supplier, you remember this abbreviation, AACSIR. What is AACSIR? A, assurance of supply. You may get the supplier's price at the lowest, but he cannot supply you. So you don't want that, right? So make sure that the supply could really deliver to you. So assurance of supply. Second is Q, quality. You have to make sure that it's the right quality that you will receive. Third is service, right? So action. CIR is cost. I stands for innovation. The supplier has to innovate. And the last piece is regulatory. You have to make sure that your suppliers are paying their taxes. They have occupational health and safety. Because if one of them gets to be closed by BIR or by Department of Labor and Employment, what will happen to your company? You will not receive deliveries. If you're banking from that supplier, then you will have a problem. Because you will not be able to complete the products that you're putting together because you're dependent to one of those suppliers. So I will leave you something for that particular question. Always remember AACSIR. That's a type of training that we give that institutions normally do not are unable to teach those students who wanted to learn about supply chain management.
Wow, we will certainly keep that in mind, Mr. Villasenor, rather. Thank you so much for everyone.
Just to mention, even
Yes,
LaSalle is one of our good customers. LaSalle uses us a lot, and you just don't know that. Because you construct a lot of buildings. We help LaSalle make procurement transparent, efficient, and gets a lot of savings. So we love LaSalle too, because they're one of our best customers. Honestly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Villasenor. So thank you so much again to everyone for all of your questions, and thank you for your knowledge and time.
Yes, and the Lasallian community loves you as well. So with that, we would like to present a certificate of appreciation for you flashed here on our screen.
Yeah, keep in contact via LinkedIn. I'm pretty much on it. Thank you.
Given this day, 7th of May in the year of the Lord 2021 at De La Salle University, Taft Avenue, Manila, this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Mr. Charlie Villasenor for sharing knowledge as a distinguished speaker in the success of aieCon 2021, Building the Industries of Tomorrow. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Charlie Villasenor.
My pleasure. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You know, Camille, it just feels so good for Mr. Yap, Mr. Pesenko, and Mr. Villasenor to kickstart this year's iEcon. And for sure, even though we are not physically together, I can feel that the audience is so excited rather to meet the next speakers.
That's right, Samantha. But just hold on to that excitement for a while because we are going to ask our beloved audience again, our future industrial engineers, how it is going on their industrial engineering journey.
Yes, you all know it. It's time for our raffle question. But before that, I would just like to remind everyone once again to please fill up the general attendance log sheet flashed on your screen. You may also fill up the sponsor promotion form to avail some special goodies from our iECON 2021 sponsors.
And we would also like to know a little bit of your story by answering the question, why did you choose industrial engineering? So that is our third raffle question. Why did you choose industrial engineering? Comment down your answers in the comment section with the hashtag iEcon2021 x bake sushi. Again, the hashtag is hashtag iEcon2021 x bake sushi to get a chance for your answer to be featured and also to win vouchers from Bake Sushi.
We would love to hear iconic stories. So comment down below on why you chose industrial engineering as your course, and maybe you will be one of our lucky raffle winners. So stick around until the end of the event for the announcement of the winners.
Yes, make sure to just keep your answers coming to get a chance to win the raffle. And you know what? I actually have another trivia for you guys. Did you know that Bake Sushi is owned by an industrial engineering student in LaSalle? So again, like I mentioned earlier, it is definitely very inspirational how our LaSallian brothers and sisters are continuing to excel during this time of pandemic. So together, let us support businesses as we build the industries of tomorrow. Once again, we would like to take this opportunity to recognize our amazing sponsors for this event. We will be right back after the short break at 3:05 p.m. Philippine Standard Time.
Here we go. It's about time that we set it off. Bang, bang, won't stop till we're legends.
Landing on your dream job will have a huge impact on your success. Good news is that we compiled everything you need to know in one ebook. Introducing Build Your Engineering Career version 2, your complete guide in landing your dream job in the engineering industry. Creating an outstanding resume, acing that interview, salary negotiation, and more. Check out this link to download yours now.
And we are back and very excited to introduce our first breakout topic for this year's iECON. I'm sure, Sam, it is something that many of us, not just industrial engineering students, are very interested in lately.
That's right, Camille. Even I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, so I have to agree. And without further ado, our first breakout topic is on e-commerce.
Introducing our first breakout speaker for today, she is an industrial engineering graduate from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, started her career as a marketing intern in United Laboratories or Unilab. Currently, she is the head of HR Center of Excellence and the head of operations in Shopee. She is also the head of e-commerce operations in C. Let us give a warm virtual applause to Miss Karen Perez.
Hi guys, hi everyone. It is a pleasure. Good afternoon. My name is Karen Perez. I'm the proud member of the Shopee family, and thank you for having us here today for this big event. So maybe just a quick round of introduction. Oh, yes, I am an industrial engineering graduate from UP Diliman. So I graduated, I think, 10 plus X years ago. So maybe like 1 to 2 generation gap for those who are attending this iECON. So it's really a pleasure to be sharing my experience to everyone. Okay, so let's start. First, let me tell you about our company, about Shopee. So Shopee is the leading e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia and Taiwan. Our sustained growth over the years has allowed us to extend our leadership as a number one e-commerce player in the region. Sometime in 2020, we were recognized as a number one shopping app in Southeast Asia and Taiwan by monthly active users, total downloads, and total time spent. So Shopee is part of C Group, which is our mother company. It is the first internet business of scale from Southeast Asia to be listed in the NYSE, or the New York Stock Exchange. Our parent company is called C. It is a leader in digital entertainment, which is Garena, e-commerce, Shopee, and our digital financial services across Southeast Asia. So basically, our subsidiaries of C Group would involve Garena, as I have mentioned. So this is the digital entertainment platform used by avid gamers across Southeast Asia and Taiwan. I think some of you guys may be familiar about Garena, right? C Money is our digital financial services platform alongside Shopee, which is the marketplace platform. So within a span of only 5 years, if you can imagine, no, we have expanded our presence to all over the region. Our head office, for those who are interested to know, is located in Singapore. We are also ranked number one by average monthly active users, downloads, and total time spent in app in Android. So it's not just Apple or iOS. So this is in the shopping category across App Annie. Given our success in the entire region, we also took the opportunity to expand our footprint beyond sea and Taiwan for the very first time. And this is to serve our online shoppers in Brazil. Okay, now, so let me talk a bit more about the internet economy and e-commerce in the Philippines. Okay? So, according to a Google Temasek study, I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this one, right? But just to quickly share, so the Philippine internet economy grew around 6% year on year, or versus the previous year, to around $7.5 billion in the year 2020. So that's from 7.1 billion US dollars in 2019. So this figure is expected to even reach around $28 billion by 2025. So that's roughly 4 years from the current year. So e-commerce in particular grew 55% in the Philippines just for last year. Furthermore, 37% of all digital consumers in the Philippines last year are new. And this is actually mainly due to the COVID-19, or due to the lockdown situation that we are at. So this means that more than half of which are from non-Metro Manila areas. So around 9 in 10 new digital consumers intend to continue using digital services going forward. So it has been a change in terms of the behavior of the users that we have seen for last year. So this growth has been truly visible. I'm not sure if you guys have been more addicted, or has become, Shopee has become part of your daily life, daily living. So according to DTI, 88,000 new online businesses has registered within 2020. So that's really amazing, right? So we have seen the change of offline to online. We have seen how they have leveraged in terms of transitioning their businesses from retail offline to retail online. So out of these 88,000 that I have mentioned, around 86,000 has registered only from March to December of 2020. Okay, so DTI continues to plan to grow the e-commerce sector, and we have been working very closely with the Department of Trade and Industry to make this happen. The target is to become around 5.5% of the economy solely coming from e-commerce. So I think this translates to roughly around 1.2 trillion pesos by next year, by end of next year, 2022. So to support this objective, the DTI launched the e-commerce roadmap of 2022, which focuses on facilitating the ease of doing business. This also means scaling up through digital transformation and reducing the logistics costs, and building trust. So I think reducing logistics costs would mean more items to buy from e-commerce, right? Okay, so e-commerce growth is something that we also felt in Shopee. So just to give you a quick snapshot of Shopee's growth across all regions, around 20,000 leading global and local brands on Shopee Mall to offer shoppers a diverse selection of authentic products. We make it sure that there is a lot of things, there's a lot of items and products that our users can, have options to consider. There is also a 4 times uplift in the total number of orders completed using Shopee mobile wallets. So we've seen that people has become quite anxious to use cash on delivery. And that's why they pivoted towards transitioning to Shopee Pay. Um, we have also seen smashed sales records during the year-end campaign. So this would be for 99, which we have seen around 12 million items sold during the first hour alone. um, 200 million items sold during 11/11, and then around 12 million items sold during the first 24 minutes of 12/12. If you guys can see, can imagine, there's a lot of people who are really waiting for that 0000 from 99/11/11 12/12 to just kick in. Okay, so I'd also want to highlight this growth in the Philippines. So zooming into the Philippines, where we saw around 8.5x increase in items shipped for food-related items from the Shopee warehouse. So maybe, because of the change in the user behavior, people saw that online buying of their groceries would be safer for them to do. That's why we have seen this drastic change in terms of this change in user behavior. Where there is also a rapid expansion in our Shopee Express, which is our own logistics provider. This has allowed them to cover more areas and reach users in the rural areas, since previously Shopee Express is only available within the Metro Manila and GMA Plus. Okay, so maybe you guys are a bit curious, no? So what do I do in Shopee? So all our success and growth has been made possible by the combined strength of our operations team, where I've been given the chance to lead. So who the operations team is our backbone in the business. The internal operations teams finds a way to really evaluate the needs of our business to keep it running smoothly, efficiently, and effectively. This also works. We work very closely with our third party vendors. So these are the likes of our payment partners, our logistics providers, to achieve this success and this growth. We also ensure that the shopping experience of our users, you guys, um, and also our sellers are seamless from end to end. So maybe just to give you a quick background in terms of the scale of our operations. So we basically look at two things in terms of operations. One would be our Shopee buyer journey, or our buyer experience. Most of you guys could have experienced this. So this would be when the time that you guys start to look at what items do you want to purchase, search. So we have a dedicated team who looks and runs through all of those listings in the app, makes sure that everything complies based on the local regulatory standards. We work very closely with the local regulators to ensure that everything that's on app is something that we allow to sell. Okay, and we also work with the brands to make sure that they're providing the best listing, portfolio and description in every listing that they post. So upon purchasing, definitely you guys have to check out, because if you don't check out, then you cannot receive your order on time, right? So the checkout team ensures that the payments that you share in the app is being maintained, and that it follows the Shopee guarantee. The Shopee guarantee kicks in by the time that you make your purchase into the app, and this ensures that you guys will receive the orders or your items on time. If not, then we can escrow the payment back to your Shopee wallet in time. Okay, so the logistics team works very closely not just with the buyers but also with your sellers, because most of the items in our platform are not really available on hand through our Shopee warehouse. We work very closely with our partners like the sellers and merchants to ensure that the items are being shipped out on time, and that it will be transitioned to the receiving hubs that are closest to your location and be delivered on time. And then definitely the customer service team, which is the biggest team in our entire organization. So we have in-house team for customer service. We also have partners like BPOs across the entire Philippines to ensure that we are able to receive your concerns, your comments, your feedbacks, and make use of these data and information to continuously improve how we should improve and develop things. So this is just the Shopee buyer journey. At the other side, for though you may not see how it looks like at the seller journey. So in our seller perspective, they are being so there's a dedicated team who looks at them, who trains them, who incubates them into the system. We teach them what they need to know to become good and performing sellers into the app. We also teach them how to provide good customer service to the buyers. So not only do we educate them, but we also make sure that their performance scores are being monitored, and we give them advices and mentoring, um, trainings to work towards the improvement of their KPIs. So it's not just a commercial performance check that we're doing, but also on a operational performance check to make sure that they provide a seamless uh, experience to their buyers. Okay, so after that, you guys may have thought, given this growth, how does Shopee remain committed to bringing MSMEs online, right? So Shopee has a breadth of online tools to help MSMEs succeed in e-commerce, because what we have seen, a lot of those offline merchants, when they pivoted or transitioned towards the digital channel, it was really hard for them. Well, number one could be that they don't really know, they're not as techy as the generation would be right now. So we really need to ensure that we provide them that education and training to step up and convert their business from offline to online, because offline is way too different to doing it online. So we have introduced the seller center, which houses tools that sellers can use to monitor, maximize, and optimize sales. They have everything that they need in the seller center, so they don't really need to use any other channels or tools, like let's say get their own Microsoft Office to facilitate the data sheets for them. Everything is already being integrated in the seller center, so that it could provide a one-stop tool for our sellers. It also houses our seller performance system, wherein it's a point based system that helps sellers track their performance and highlight key areas for improvement. So it provides our sellers the good view in terms of the items that they need to pick, pack, and ship. What are those items that they need to hand over to the couriers? It provides them with the information in terms of their financial monitoring, financial planning, what SKUs or products are will mostly be depleted, let's say in 2 days time, 3 days time. So it gives them an earlier view in terms of what they need to start replenishing. So everything that they need to know will be in the seller center. Okay, so the Shopee ecosystem is truly designed to help our sellers succeed. We have Shopee Pay, as I have mentioned a while ago, wherein it's Shopee's own mobile wallet that allows buyers and sellers to securely and conveniently send and receive payments. If you guys may have noticed, right, so I think in the Philippines, only 34% of our population have access to banks, which means roughly that at that level only would have ATM cards, would have bank account enrolled. So let's say net of that, around 66, if my math is correct, 66% of the population do not have access. So this Shopee Pay facilitates a better way for them to store their funding and convert them into something that they could use into the Shopee app also. Shopee Live. So the Shopee Live, I think Facebook, TikTok has been doing a lot of live stream. Definitely, this is also something that they can do. Our Shopee sellers can do to attract more sales, to get more users. So this showcases their products to shoppers in real time via live stream. And definitely, we don't just give them a platform. We upskill and train them to truly succeed in this space, because we believe that it's not just sharing, you know, the benefits of Shopee for them, but also making sure that they succeed in their business. So we have programs for the sellers. So some of this that I would like to share will be the Seller Education Center, wherein we educate sellers on how to increase their sales, how they can improve their operations, and create an online presence through modules. So depending on the acumen of the sellers, we train them little by little. If we see that some of the sellers have already progressed towards intermediate or advanced, we give them the specialized training that they need. But if they are a bit new in e-commerce, and definitely we give them the basic and then we ramp accordingly. So by now, around 6,000 sellers have already benefited from this. Our seller masterclass trains sellers to use effective advertising tactics and marketing tools to boost sales and establish their online presence. So this is also in collaboration with DTI. So we have this program implemented and executed nationwide. We also partnered with USAID for the ITAAS, ang Pilipinong MSMEs Integrated Digital Marketing Training Program, which specifically targets business women to help maximize the use of their digital platforms to expand their business. And this also offers training on digital marketing, promotions, and leveraging digital payments as well. So other initiatives to support sellers would include seller support packages. Recently, Shopee has pledged around 200 million pesos to help over 300,000 local MSMEs to transition to the online selling. And this also includes benefits such as lowered commission and operational costs. This has also increased sales marketing support to help sellers adjust to the uncertainty of a pandemic economy. So this is one of those specialized programs that we have for to support our sellers. Another one would be our hashtag Tatak Pinoy virtual trade fair, which is a 3-day online trade fair to help promote various products of local micro, small, and medium enterprises. So as much as we want to penetrate not just the middle class to high class brands or merchants, but we also like to support those local and micro retailers and enterprises. Promotional campaigns wherein Shopee holds campaigns all year round to help boost exposure of sellers' goods. So these are featured more normally in app and on Shopee's websites. And definitely, as we continue to grow, we make sure that Shopee provides an enjoyable and safe shopping experience. So to note, we have Shopee Guarantee. So this feature is where payments to sellers is withheld until the buyer confirms that they have received the item in good condition. So maybe just to briefly elaborate on Shopee Guarantee, for you guys who are Shopee buyers, your payment is secured within Shopee until such time that you have confirmed that your items have been received in good condition. So should you receive something that do not manages your expectation, then feel free to let us know. You can either request for a return or refund. All of this is part of the Shopee guarantee because the moment that you let us know that the item that you have received is good, okay, and in good condition, then that's the time that we transfer the payment or your payment directly to the seller. And by the moment that we have already escrowed the payment to the seller, we work together with the seller if there's any outside Shopee concern that you may need to resort. But definitely, this is how it works. Okay. So, buyer and seller ratings. So, this is to provide both buyers and sellers the freedom to rate each other based on their transactional experience. I think for most of those who have been using Shopee, they're very familiar with these ratings, and whenever they purchase they make sure that they're buying mostly from the high rated sellers and the high rated products. So this facilitates a better view for you guys to ensure that what you're purchasing in Shopee would be the best option for you. Okay. So, and as we ensure that our sellers and shoppers are having great experience in our platform, we also need to ensure that our own Shopee employees are equally happy and satisfied as well. Definitely, no. It's not just the users who should be happy, but it's also the employees who should be happy. So, life at Shopee means learning and development is part of our everyday life. Our employees are extremely valuable to us, and we take pride in ensuring their own development. Learning and development is core and pivotal to our organization, and we invest a lot in our people. So normally we have three different kinds of training. The first kind of training is the general training for soft skills. So we invest a lot of time in terms of nurturing our talents. We call our employees talents to to develop their soft skills. We also have functional training for specific technical skills required. Like let's say if we have individuals from business intelligence department or team, and they need to acquire certain technical skills, so that we invest the learning capability for them to make use of that training as part of their day-to-day work. And definitely, last but not the least, would be leadership training. We have a lot of young leaders who are roughly 3 to 5 years in experience, who are good people managers right now. So we have a step up leadership training for them to ensure that they provide the correct guidance and mentoring to their team members. So with all of these efforts, we were awarded the Skills Future Employer award in recognition of our initiatives on emphasizing employee skills development and nurturing our future young leaders and talents. Okay, you guys may think there's a lot of work that we do, right? So we are a hardworking bunch, yes, but we also know how to have fun. We work hard, but definitely we also play hard. So these pictures are all taken before the pandemic. So we organize a lot of those internal engagement activities to ensure employees are happy and can always take a break from work. Majority of our employees are actually millennials. Around 70 to 75% of our employees are below 28 years old. So definitely it's a very fun organization. So we make sure that we keep them engaged through these monthly engagement activities. But definitely, in view of the pandemic situation, next slide please, most of the office-based roles are still on work from home setup. However, this doesn't stop us on continuing our engagement efforts with our employees virtually. One of the most challenging part of this pandemic and with a growing organization is how we can continue to integrate everyone. We have had different, so with this, we've had different virtual trainings, team activities like fitness challenges, as well as creative workshops. We do weekly yoga, weekly, what do you call that, HIIT training to engage our employees. We also um, come up with those mental wellness programs for them so that they are aware that we care for their own welfare. So if you do join us, you will definitely get to experience all of this fun as well. Okay, so here at Shopee, we are proud to have helped countless entrepreneurs, no, both big and small, to thrive in the new normal. So the next slides, I would like to share with you some stories of our sellers who have successfully shifted to digital with the help of Shopee. So this first seller is Lysel. So Lysel struggled with the sales of her physical store before she made the brave decision to switch to e-commerce with Shopee. Lysel is one of those people who thrive as a salesperson, and the way she engaged customers is something that she wanted to do as well, even as she shifted to e-commerce. So her business grew in less than a year through the help of Shopee Live. So she must be really talented to engage her own users through Shopee live stream. So with Shopee Live, wherein she live streamed her selling skills and products, she was able to answer queries on her products, similar to how she would in her physical store, and even engage her customers from the comforts of her home. So that's Lysel. Our next seller is Benji. So Benji's shop is called Kayamanan ni Juan in Shopee. So he offers high quality handcrafted products, and his clients in his physical store are mostly tourists or foreigners who wants handcrafted native items. However, due to the pandemic restrictions, his sales were affected, and so to his ability to provide for his family. But things changed for the better when Benji made the switch to e-commerce with Shopee. Last February, so just I think two months ago, no, Shopee launched hashtag Tatak Pinoy, which put a spotlight on the local sellers on Shopee. This initiative helped them achieve around 20% increase in orders and around 60% increase in overall sales by helping the business gain visibility. So this is basically attracting and supporting our local entrepreneurs. Okay, our last seller is Gina. So Gina used e-commerce to turn her passion for protecting the environment into a business with the help of Shopee. In our platform, she sells all kinds of organic and sustainable products such as reusable cotton pads, eco-friendly hygiene products for women, and reusable straws. So due to the ease of access, Gina was able to reach so many other green shoppers who are looking for these items. And with Shopee, her advocacies are a lot easier to promote to reach like-minded individuals who also care for the earth or greenery. Okay, so I'm down to my last slide, Paulo. Okay, so it's more than a privilege for us to be able to help out our Filipino entrepreneurs shift to digital and see them succeed in the new normal. And I think this is also the reason why we are deeply committed to innovating. Shopee is always finding ways to improve our platform. So everyone in the team always are challenged to continue what we do and become the best version of ourselves, not just for the organization, but for our Filipino community. And this is to also help our sellers succeed and to give everyone a safe way to get the things that they need. I think that's my last slide for now. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you so much, Miss Perez, for your time and knowledge. And as someone who enjoys to online shop, and I think a lot of us really have been online shopping, it's one of the things that we all wanted to do this quarantine. So this was very helpful and a very inspiring talk. So once again, thank you, Miss Perez. We highly appreciate it.
Yes, we really do appreciate you as someone who is personally a gold member in Shopee. I have learned a lot today, and I know that our listeners have also learned a lot. And unfortunately, Ms. Perez will not be able to share a Q&A session with us today. But for our audiences, I know that you have some questions. You can still leave your questions in the Google Forms, and we will forward them to our speaker, and we will try to send back an answer after the event. With that, we would like to present a certificate of appreciation for you flashed on our screen.
Given this day, 7th of May, in the year of the Lord 2021 at De La Salle University, Taft Avenue, Manila, this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Ms. Karen Perez for sharing knowledge as a distinguished speaker in the success of iECON 2021, Building the Industries of Tomorrow. Once again, thank you so much, Ms. Karen Perez.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh wow, that was definitely an incredible talk, Sams. And thank you again, Miss Perez. But we will be having another short 5-minute break. But don't just leave yet, as we will be having our next raffle question.
That's right, Camille. The winners will be announced at the end of the event. So stick around until then. Also, many surprises await you guys.
Well, for our next raffle question, we are very curious to know your answers to what makes industrial engineers unique. Again, the question is, what makes industrial engineers unique? Comment down your answers in the comment section to get a chance for your answer to be featured and win vouchers from Iceberg Insulated.
Wow, we would love to hear more about your amazing opinions. So comment down below with the hashtag iECON2021 x Iceberg Insulated. Again, that is hashtag iECON2021 x Iceberg Insulated on what makes industrial engineers unique for you and get a chance to win 200 pesos worth of vouchers.
And while everybody is commenting down their answers, I would just like to remind everyone once again to please fill up the general attendance log sheet, which will be flashed on your screen. You may also fill up the sponsor promotion form to avail some special goodies from our iECON 2021 sponsors.
Yes, and thank you for all of your answers, everyone. We will be announcing the winners later at the end of the event, so make sure to stay until then. But for now, we would like to take this opportunity to recognize our amazing sponsors for this event.
Here we go. It's about time that we set it off. Bang, bang, won't stop till we're legends.
Landing on your dream job will have a huge impact on your success. Good news is that we compiled everything you need to know in one ebook. Introducing Build Your Engineering Career version 2, your complete guide in landing your dream job in the engineering industry. Creating an outstanding resume, acing that interview, salary negotiation, and more. Check out this link to download yours now.
everyone. We're back for our next breakout speaker. This time, the breakout topic is on supply chain management. To introduce our speaker, he is an industrial engineering graduate from the University of Santo Tomas and started as the technical sales engineer for Pacific Paint Boysen, Philippines. He is currently the team leader of Construct.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, let us please welcome Mr. Harold Lim.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for having me here. It is truly an honor and joy to be part of something positive, especially after everything we've been through. Today, I'll be sharing with you my personal experience having been working in the manufacturing industry for more than 8 years, specifically the side of marketing and technical sales. Hopefully, through this, you'll be able to get an idea or another perspective when it comes to the role of an industrial engineer. To start, let us discuss what is industrial engineering. Industrial engineering is the branch of engineering that involves figuring out how to make or do things better. As industrial engineers, we are concerned with reducing the production costs, increasing efficiency, improving the quality of products and services, ensuring workers' health and safety, protecting the environment, and complying with the government regulations. Let me give you a little bit of history. IE can be traced back to the start of the Industrial Revolution in the late 18th century, where early practitioners of the industrial engineering is known for. Samuel Colt, believed to be the one who pioneered the assembly line around 1830s, in production of his patented invention, the Colt revolver. Frederick Taylor, a mechanical engineer who is highly influential in terms of efficiency during his time. He introduced scientific management and time and motion study around 1880s. Henry Lawrence Gantt, a mechanical engineer as well, he was an associate of Taylor and practiced scientific management. He created the Gantt chart around 1910s and was widely used for organizational management since. Who would forget Henry Ford, founder of Ford Motor Company? He's the chief developer of the assembly line technique for mass production in automobile manufacturing industry early 19th century. Industrial engineering was driven almost entirely by the motive to increase the efficiency and profitability of manufacturing operations. Since then, the continuous discovery and advancement of new technologies has presented industrial engineers with new challenges in finding new applications for these innovations and optimizing their use to improve productivity. So what do? Well, as an IE, we make all things better. We IEs work to reduce waste of time, money, materials, energy, and other resources. We are involved in every step of production and process. We can either build new facilities from ground up or be in charge of improving or updating existing ones. Depending on the assigned tasks, we are able to work both in offices and in environments where there are needs for improvement. So why industrial engineering? Have you decided what you want to become? What will you do after graduation? Have you thought of yourself 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? You can often see what is success to you, or what does it mean to be successful? Have you seen or heard these questions? Have you thought about it? Well, if you haven't, maybe you should start thinking about it. But not now, of course. Now is time to listen, and hopefully you can get something from here. With all the things we have, all this on your left, and on your right, all the possible options we can go to. What do you think is our advantage? What's our edge? Well, for me, being an IE is one step for being awesome. Yeah, just that. I'll pause on that thought. Well, kidding aside, I believe that our edge as an IE is versatility. From here, let's define what is versatility, how to become one, and what's next to it. By definition, versatility is capable of or adapted for turning easily from one to another of various tasks, fields of endeavor, etc. Being versatile is going to be a major challenge for many. We get so used to do something the way we have been doing it that we don't consider other ways. Many of us don't try to learn new ways or methods, or even trying new fields of endeavor because it takes us out of our comfort zone. Those of you who are planning to be in the workforce should start thinking which career path you will take. How can you be unique, stand out, be significant? If you are into entrepreneurship, start preparing your business plan. strategic management, and feasibility study. I'm saying this because of the unfortunate reality. We're all struggling and surviving in this pandemic. It is a fact when you hear the news, which companies lay off people, it is a hard fact. Some companies even shut down, and those companies who laid off people began to reorganize, terminating those who are insignificant, because the company usually considers the ones substantial for the business. How do you become more versatile? To me, versatility is not about just becoming better at what you do. It is about being able to do something you have not been able to do before and be good at it. So here are some thoughts on what you can do. First, you must decide you can be and must be more versatile. There is research showed that you can change your brain by thinking, physically and structurally change your brain. So eliminate the excuse that I'm not that smart enough. Read. Read more to begin with, but mostly you need to read different. Get out of that comfort zone. Reading stuff that you have not read before will help you build different neural pathways and store different information. But I'm not saying that only reading can make you more versatile. Just do something different. Explore on things. Something new for you. If you don't like to read, there are lots of ways to learn. Listen to podcasts. There are some audiobooks you can listen to. You can also experiment on new things. Get lost or something. Just don't forget to come back to reality. All I'm saying is that don't be afraid to try something new. Be outside of your comfort zone. Wala namang mawawala eh. If you fall, at least you learn from it. A good uncle once shared to me about calculated risks. Do research on it. Maybe you can get something from there. Prepare the next generation. I believe this is what our program do. IE program trains us to be versatile. See our curriculum, the subjects we have enrolled, and what we do now is part of the training, preparing us for the next phase.
So with all of this, to sum it up, don't forget to pass it on to the next generation. And as an IE, improve the cycle. We can't tell, maybe next time you already have a new and more efficient way on teaching and learning.
To be significant with whatever we do, to have a meaning and purpose, whether be at work or anywhere we may be. Effective personal branding is about being an expert in one area and having a unique point of view, but that doesn't mean being so narrowly focused that you can't adapt. Having knowledge and skill sets in a variety of areas can help you become a better problem solver while you build deeper connections with your peers. And that variety doesn't have to be directly tied to your job. What you do outside the office also contributes significantly to your versatility. Regardless of your job title, whether be an employee or a business owner, becoming a more versatile individual means getting out of your comfort zone more often. And I believe these 4 strategies can make that easier. First is adaptation. In a world that's increasingly dominated by change, the ability to adapt is one of the most fundamental aspects of being versatile. Traveling is an excellent hands-on way to get comfortable with new environments and develop on-the-fly problem-solving skills. To get the most out of this strategy, visit places you've never been to before and do a deep dive so that you'll learn a lot about their culture. Example of which is, who among you are willing to work, let's say, Cebu-based, Davao-based, Singapore-based, stateside? And since you are working there, then you can visit places and learn their culture. Be an OFW and learn their way. Because I'll tell you, it will be challenging and it will be different. It is not the strongest species that survives, nor the most intelligent survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. A quote from Charles Darwin. Next is keep up with current events. Keeping up with the current news events makes you better at conversations. But the best learning opportunities come from expanding your news sources to the communities beyond your personal frame of reference. This can help you make better professional decisions, become more culturally fluent, and find opportunities you would otherwise miss out on. As one CEO shared, smart business leaders are looking back on some of the big and small news stories of the past year to see what kind of lessons they might offer. Well, not just local news. Listen or read onto international events, sports, businesses. I believe we are lucky since there are a lot of platforms now available for us. Just don't forget to listen on those real ones, not the fake news. So be careful on what you share. Third, never stop learning. Long after graduation, it is important to maintain the mindset of a student. But I don't mean be immature, okay? Just so we are clear. Anyway, you don't have to take student loans or enroll in graduate school to do this. But if you can, why not? You can also learn from training programs offered by different associations or consulting groups where there are continuous education opportunities abound. The key is to keep learning. Having that growth mindset means you'll be better and be able to improve your work performance. To maximize the benefit, take classes in things that you don't already excel in. You'll become more versatile if you're willing to learn things that you've never studied at all, such as arts and crafts or foreign language. Nowadays, seminars, trainings, undergrad and graduate modules are offered online. So make use of the technology. Use your time wisely. As Steve Jobs shared, stay hungry, stay foolish. Last is cultural knowledge. Whether you need a relaxing activity for the weekend or want to learn as much as you can during a trip, take full advantage of the cultural scenes by visiting a variety of museums, theaters, and historic neighborhoods. Some offer guided tours of special collections, offering interesting background information to enhance the experience. With the previous issue on the Black Lives Matter and the current abuse on Asians in Western countries, I say that everyone matters because we are all the same. We are all human. And since we can't move around or travel yet, try to learn as much online. Not a great experience compared to traveling, but surely you'll have an edge during online appointments or interviews. Having knowledge in a diverse society makes even your small talk more versatile. An expert shared that experienced conversationalists are typically excellent storytellers and can carry on a discussion about a wide range of topics. The skills and experiences from all four of these strategies will make you a more versatile and more valuable resource to both colleagues and clients. Fortunately, it just takes a small investment of time to start reaping the rewards. I want to end the topic versatility by asking, what kind of versatile would you want to become? Versatile like a bamboo? Grounded with your values? Swayed by the forces of nature? By different stress, different pressure, but still holding on your ground? Just swaying? Or be versatile like leaves that can be flown anywhere the wind goes? With a small or hard pressure, can be blown easily. I'd love to hear from you all. So I believe I still have a little bit more time for live Q&A. But if we don't have any more time, you can email me for your questions and comments. So email can be found in the lower left of the screen. Oh, I do have a consulting team if you want to start up business or if you have a current business that you want to explore, expand, we can help you with that. So thank you again, everyone, and good evening.
Wow, thank you so much for that inspiring talk, Mr. Lim. And with that, we will now be opening the floor for the questions of our dear participants. So, for our participants, if you have any questions, kindly submit them through the Google form pinned in the comment section below.
Yes, and speaking of which, we actually have a question from one participant. And the question is, how much are you able to optimize your processes, and by what metric do you measure that?
So actually, every time we do manufacturing, if we do optimize every process every way, from batching to transfer logistics. But I'm not quite sure how they measure metric they measure.
All right, thank you very much. And the next question is, what are the changes in the processes of your company that occurred when the pandemic started? And how were these changes better than your previous ones?
Okay. So again, from what I said earlier, no, we're in the construction industry. I'm currently more on the field side, marketing and technical sales. So what we did during the pandemic is more on be sensitive with your clients. So let's say a simple visit, you should be sensitive enough to ask your clients they would prefer online or call for mobile or if it's okay to visit them. And if you're not doing well, of course, you tell your management that you can't go to work because of your health issues or concerns, right? Doesn't mean a simple flu for you, you can manage the other person cannot, right? So be sensitive with other people.
Thank you for that answer. So, our next question is coming from Grace, and her question is, what are the benefits of being an IE graduate in relation to the work that you are doing right now?
Yeah. So being an IT is not just to work in manufacturing or in process engineer. So you can be actually in field of industry should you pursue, right? So like me, we're in the construction industry. I'm on the field, more on marketing and tech sales. Being an IE graduate makes me more agile, more versatile in that matter. So that's why I chose that topic, being versatile, to share with everyone else. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. And speaking of being an IE graduate, John actually asks, do you have any tips for graduating IE students, especially considering that we are in a situation, a pandemic right now?
Yeah. So graduating students, no, that's kind of tough. Well, when I was graduating as well before, I basically don't know what to do next, right? So maybe a little bit of tip that you start thinking what you want to do. If you want to learn more in the process, try some few jobs, or you can go to if you want to risk on your businesses, or you can let's say enroll on master's program. Just learn more. You have to know what you want to do. Again, earlier I said if you're thinking 5 years from now, what would you want to become in your life? Yeah. Of course, we all want to be stable, right?
So thank you for that, Mr. Lim, and thank you to our participants as well for all of your questions. And again, thank you for your time and knowledge, Mr. Lim. We highly appreciate it.
We really do, and we would actually like to present a certificate of appreciation for you, which is going to be flashed here on our screen.
Given this day, 7th of May,
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lim. Given this day, 7th of May, in the year of the Lord 2021 at De La Salle University, Taft Avenue, Manila, this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Mr. Harold Lim for sharing knowledge as a distinguished speaker in the success of aieCon 2021, Building the Industries of Tomorrow. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Harold Lim.
Well, now we have actually come to the end of our event. Sam, time surely flies fast. And you know what? I actually learned so much from our speakers this afternoon.
That's true, Camille. And once again, a big thank you to all of our speakers who have inspired us all this afternoon.
Yes, indeed. A huge thank you to all of our speakers. It was truly inspiring and, of course, a learning afternoon for me. And now, for the moment everyone has been waiting for, the announcement of our raffle winners. But before that, again, we would like to say a last thank you to Mr. Harold Lim for participating in our event today and for helping our event be successful. Thank you very much, Mr. Harold Lim.
Thank you, Mr. Harold Lim.
It's an honor to be here. And congratulations everyone in the near future ng graduation.
Well,
Stay safe
now
and
we have come to the most awaited portion actually of our event, which, like I mentioned earlier, is the announcement of our raffle winners. Are you as excited as I am, Sam?
I am. I'm really excited. But before that, actually, I do have a question for our viewers out there. What is, now that we're nearing the end of our event, what is one thing that they have learned all throughout with all the speakers so far? Maybe they can share it with us in the comment section down below. Some important insights that they want to use in their future endeavors.
Yes, and something like, for me to answer that question first, something that I learned is just adapting to basically the environment around you, especially during the time of the pandemic. Everyone is having a hard time. Actually, a professor of mine posted yesterday, and he said that if you're having a hard time, so is the person around you. So as much as possible, you're going to try and help each other. And that, for me, is one of the reasons why our distinguished speakers nowadays have had very big successes even during the time of pandemic. But how about you, Sam? What are some of the things that you have learned?
Yeah, I agree with you. And actually, it's really nice to see how we have an avenue where we can talk about these certain topics despite, again, the pandemic, and being able to learn new things together that we can apply in our future endeavors, and seeing our speakers and their businesses be able to come up with better and even sustainable solutions for the betterment of their employees or for the people in general.
I think that's one thing that us as Lasallians, we are being taught in school, is to be able to adapt no matter how hard life gets. We are just here and we're trying to do our best to work towards
Yeah. Well, actually,
and to work
just to add up that it is
towards
really
making
new.
sure that off times.
It is really new information for all of us, and we can see that especially this pandemic, there has been so many changes and challenges in our economy, and it is important to see that these certain topics that are being shared with us by our speakers, it doesn't just affect businesses, but all of us in general. So now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the announcement of our winners. So for our first raffle question, again, it is who created the first assembly line? Again, the question is who created the first assembly line? So the winners are...
Wow, congratulations to our lucky winners, Miss Sarina Olpindo, Angelique Tabayag, Christoph Bata, Generone Buentipo, Andre Pua, Shirka de Guzman, Crester Ducay, June Capili, Mary Pendon, and Brian Galaron. Congratulations! You have won 200 pesos worth of e-vouchers from Cozy Manila. Our team will send you a message on how you can claim your prize, so please watch out for your inbox.
Wow, congratulations once again to our lucky winners. Now I wonder what the next prize is, Camille.
Same here, Samantha. Let us now move on to our second raffle question. What is the series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end? Again, the question is, what is the series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end? And our winners are...
Pierre Catindig, Luis Lucero, John Estelcina, Francis Alivio, Jason Saligao, Angela Ofalas, J. Lord Ramiter, Gianina Nones, Vien Medina, and Christine Cunanan.
Let us give a huge congratulations to our winners. Congratulations to our winners. You have won 200 pesos worth of e-vouchers from Grizzly Dough. Once again, our team will reach out to you soon, so please expect a message from us.
We certainly have so many winners for today, and it's very exciting, but there are still more winners, so don't worry, everyone, you still have the chance to win. We now move on to the second to the last question of our raffle winners. With the question, why did you choose industrial engineering? Again, the question is, why did you choose industrial engineering?
That's such an interesting question, Sam, and I actually can't wait to see who our winners are.
Same here, Camille, and our winners for the third question are Kathleen Tejano, Aliana Capili, Kim Hunsay, Martilona Abejero, Jeffoy Kubangbang, RB Portillo, Fernando Oca, Ariel Baldovino, Adrian Castro, and Micaela Dichoso. You have won 200 Philippine pesos worth of e-vouchers from Bake Sushi. So congratulations. Again, our team will reach out to you soon. So please expect a message from us.
Bake Sushi, yum! So many amazing winners for our prizes. So again, thank you so much to our generous sponsors. And now we will move on to our final raffle question for the day, which is, what makes industrial engineers unique? Again, the question is, what makes industrial engineers unique?
That's another interesting question we have here, Camille.
That's so true, Sam. And actually, let's announce our winners. So our winners for the day are Miss Mary Son, Roniel Carandang, John Frias, Justin De Los Santos, Albert De La Cruz, Mark Dilig, Nina Laksamana, Maria Toong, Jan Loyola, and Darren Alilam. Congratulations again to our winners for winning a 200 peso worth of gift voucher from Iceberg Insulated. Once again, our team will be reaching out to you soon, so please expect a message from us.
Yes, we do.
There's more. Sam, there's more. Other than these prizes, we also have our raffle for a 500 pesos cash prize.
Yes, we do actually, Camille. And now it's finally time to announce who our lucky winners are. The winners for the 500 peso cash prize are Evander Costacio, Mary Kasama, Nicole Perez, Jared Cao, Cherry Lee, Gwen Kua, Ariana Cao, and Matthew Sim. Congratulations once again, you win 500 Philippine pesos worth of cash prize. Wow, once again, congratulations to all of the lucky winners. For all the winners, please be informed that a representative from iECON will contact you for the details on how to claim your prize. Our team will reach out to you soon, so please expect a message from us.
What a fun and exciting turn of events, Sam.
That's true, Camille. I can't believe that we had so many lucky winners this afternoon.
Right? And now that our program is nearing its end, we would actually like to thank everyone for joining us in day one of iECON 2021, Building the Industries of Tomorrow. We hope that you all enjoyed the event as much as we did, and may you be able to apply all of the insights you have gained from this event in a meaningful way.
Truly, and for our closing remarks, may we please call in the MS Vice President for External Affiliations, Mr. Martin Berberabe.
The Industrial Management Engineering Society would like to express our gratitude to the esteemed speakers of Day 1 of aieCon 2021 for sharing stories and inspiring the future leaders of tomorrow. We'd also like to thank you, our participants, for supporting us on Day 1 and making this successful. The first-hand insight of today's speakers definitely challenge us to find our role in the society and be the spark of change to become the nation builders of tomorrow. We hope this event inspired you to create a new normal. A new normal where industrial engineers are the leaders of the industries. This is just the beginning. As we wrap up Day 1 of aieCon 2021, we invite you once again to join us as 1MS for Day 2 of aieCon 2021 as we set another foot forward to creating a bright future not only for our industry but for our country. Thank you once again and hope to see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much for that speech, Mr. Martin. And also a big thank you to everyone who participated on the first day of aieCon 2021. Before we end, I would just like to remind everyone once again to please fill up the general attendance log sheet, which will be flashed on the screen and pinned in the comment section. Again, please fill up the general attendance log sheet, which is currently flashed on the screen and also pinned in the comment section. You may also fill up the sponsor promotion form to avail some special goodies from our aieCon 2021 sponsors.
Yes, and for DLSU students, please fill up the 4th hour activity form pinned in the comment section below. This is to ensure that your attendance in this event will be recorded and given to your respective professors. Otherwise, your attendance will not be counted. This form will close by 8 p.m. Philippine Standard Time tonight, so be sure to fill it up before then. To wrap it up again, we are your hosts, Samantha Erin K. Shaw.
And I am Camille Ang from DLSU's official radio station, Green Giants FM, and we are wishing you a great day ahead, and we hope to see you all again tomorrow for Day 2 of aieCon 2021.